Big Daddy. How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm good. I'm great. Great. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages, welcome in. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate, and it starts right now. Hello to you. And how do you do, upstate South Carolina? Hello, America. What's up, world? Great to be with you. Happy Monday. We made it. Or unfortunately, it's over. However you feel about the weekend in question. But it's good to be back in the saddle again. As Steven Tyler once famously said, my name is Rob Brown. On the other side of the metaphorical glass, this beautiful, beautiful upstate Monday morning. Would you look at that? At 6 a.m., the sun's almost coming up, right? Kind of, he said to himself, looking to get out of the dark. Lonzo on the other side.
Why'd you say it to yourself? He says to himself, like, I'm not in the room?
Not like narrating my own life sometimes.
Okay, but you're right now narrating our life because we're sharing our lives at the moment.
It's true, we are. We are. Aren't we just adorable like that? Lonzo is here. He is running the whole show.
Great, you guys. I'm going home.
I don't think you are. It is 6:01. You have many hours of work left to do.
Throw another mini on there and then you'd be right.
Many hours of work left to do. And do them we shall, primarily starting with the 4 most electrifying sports talk entertainment hours you will find anywhere at any time. Those are the 4 hours that start now and end at 10 a.m. Would you like to be a part of those 4 hours of sports talk entertainment greatness? I bet you would. And if you would, now's a great time to do it. Here's how to do it. The phone line is open. The Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone is open. 844-326-3663. 844-FANFONE if you want to jump on the broadcast. You may text us at 71307. 71307 is the text line number. Start that text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. We will read them on the air. You can also tweet X post me at The Rob Brown Show, at The Rob Brown Show. You can tweet X post the great one at Lonzo on Word. You can tweet X post everybody up in the station at The Fan Upstate if you'd like to get at us in that direction. All of those available for you this lovely morning. You can join us on our live stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate, facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, or by searching and subscribing to the Fan Upstate on YouTube or the Rob Brown Show on YouTube or on Twitch. Those are all the different ways for you to get up in her with us today. What a weekend we had. What a weekend we had. What a weekend. Can we talk about, or is it just fascinating to me, the redemption arc of Bryson DeChambeau, which is like better than anything that has happened in Marvel or Star Wars in the last few years? The redemption arc of Bryson DeChambeau, to me, has been nothing shy of incredible. It's been wild. This is a guy that not but a couple of years ago was wildly lambasted as one of the most dislikable professional athletes in any game.
Oh, wow.
Not but nary a few years ago, should you bring up the name Bryson DeChambeau, you got a lot of folks who just immediately went, yo, bleep that guy. That guy sucks. He's full of himself. He's a dork. He's this, he's that, whatever. Bryson DeChambeau for a hot minute there. And I don't mean to start the day off with a controversial overtone, but I shall do it nonetheless. Bryson DeChambeau was wildly disliked. Then, over the past, say, year and a half, some stuff has happened. You will remember he came back from an injury, and when he did, Bryson DeChambeau went all full Abraham Lincoln and got swole AF. Dude showed up wearing schmedium polos that he was about to break and bust out of. Then he went on that whole run about golf is just trigonometry. It's just calculus. It's just algebra. It's just this. It's just science. And while there were some of us that went, okay, that's kind of awesome. I'm kind of intrigued by how this is going to work out long term. There were a lot of folks out there that busted up Bryson DeChambeau because he took such a robotic approach to the game. And while there are stat nerds like your boy who love the numbers, who dive into the numbers, who think the numbers tell you stories that your eyeballs cannot, I also recognize that you are not a robot. You are not a computer. You are not a golf simulator. You're a person. And while you can dial it down to the numbers, at the end of the day, making the plays you gotta make, whether it's a screen pass on a 2nd and 2, or it is knocking down, I don't know, Rory McIlroy, a 3-foot putt on the 18th green with a chance to tie the U.S. Open and take it to a playoff, you still got to go out there and do the thing. And so Bryson DeChambeau, ever since he showed up on a golf course 3 or 4 years ago with a polo shirt that was way too small for him as he was eating weights for breakfast, Bryson DeChambeau has turned that entire image around. He's a different guy now. There's still that element to his game, and he still talks about it, and he still involves it. He still explains it to you. We got some sound from Bryson we'll play later in the show about that. He's still got that nerd element to his game, faux show. But what I can say and what I will say is that Bryson DeChambeau has not just become a regular dude, but he became a dude this weekend. I was there on Saturday at Pinehurst #2 watching the U.S. Open. He has become one of, I think, a very limited number of golfers, but a very limited number of athletes that understand showing emotion and making it about the fans will take you to incredible heights. Showing emotion and making it about the fans will make you a cult figure of sort amongst specifically the hardcore of that fan base. I'll give you two quick stories that played out over the weekend. On Saturday, we walked the course. So we showed up there. We got there at, 8 a.m. First tee time was at 8:45. And what we decided to do, went up there with friend of the show, Joey B. What we decided to do was check in the second the gates open. We were on the first bus that pulled up to Pinehurst #2. We went in, we decided to hit the merch stand, so we had the full selection before they sold out of anything. Hence, if you come to the stream, you'll see this lovely, brand new baby blue Pinehurst polo. And I dig the hat a lot, great one. I like the new hat a lot. The royal blue with the Carolina blue open across the front.
I don't know. The fact that it's open for what? I mean, if you don't know it's a golf hat, it's like, okay, you're open for what? Anything or almost anything? I mean, I don't know.
Multiple reasons why I like the hat. You never know. So went, picked up the new merch, got the little brother a hat, The lady's big into Tervis tumblers. Got her a tumbler from the U.S. Open. Right? Got myself a couple of little knickknacks and paddywhacks to put around the offices. And then we decided, well, let's do this. We got 45 minutes. Let's just go walk the front 9 and then make our way back. So we did. We walked the front 9. Then we came back. No, excuse me. We walked the back 9. Then we came back, walked it backwards. Then we came back and we watched Brooks Koepka take off at 1 along with Francisco Molinari. Did you see what Francisco did on Friday, by the way? My man was a stroke off the cut line. Taking off his last hole, he's got to get a hole-in-one to make the cut, and he does it. Most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. So we're watching Brooksy and Francesco Molinari play their golf. And we walk with them through 10 holes. So we've now walked 19 holes of golf. Joey B and I have tickets to the 11th hole grandstand. So we go to our grandstand, we go grab a beer in our seats.
Okay, how's that work? So you have to have separate tickets for each grandstand? Or
yes, so you are free to walk anywhere you want on the course, but most of the tickets come with access to one grandstand over one green. Every green's got grandstands around them, and there are public grandstands. So if you just have a ticket, you can go. We went a little further by getting an upgraded ticket that allowed us to get to a reserve grandstand, which had its own concession stand and its own food bar and its own restroom.
Very 1%er.
Very 1%er, and I shan't even try to hide it today.
Good for you.
I don't care. So we went up to 11. And we started watching the boys came through. And then they're like 11 backed up to 12. 12 was a big open drive hole, big wide open. Like guys were stepping on the gas on the drives on 12. So we'd watch a guy play his approach on 11, make his chip, make his putt. Then we would leave the grandstand, walk over to the 12 tee box, watch that guy tee off and go away from us on 12, come back to 11, watch the next group come up. We're just alternating that and forth. As we get to the end of the day on Saturday, and we get to the last 2 or 3 groups. I think DeChambeau was second to last group on Saturday. We're like, all right, here's the play. Actually, I think it was the last group. We're like, here's the play. Let's watch DeChambeau play his drive, his approach, his putt on 11. We'll walk over, we'll watch him drive on 12, and then we'll get out of here. Because at this point, we had been there, I think, 10 hours. And I don't know if you can tell because it's low light in here. Your boy is baked, roasted, fried.
I didn't think you did that growing up on the beach. I mean,
no. In fairness, it's been a while since I've been to the beach. Your boy is medium to medium rare right now. All right. So
if you see Rob in the hallway, come up and give him a hug.
Only if you try to catch these bleeping hands. I try to hit my bleep button and my computer's decided it just mutes itself all the time. Only if you want to catch these hands.
Someone dare Fat Boy.
Fat Boy can get this work today too. I don't care. He might end me, but he will get that smoke on the way down if he does it. Now, in fairness, it's not my back. I was on the beach. I have my shirt on, but I am rocking a ludicrous farmer's tan right now.
Well, we are in South Carolina, so
True.
It's fine.
So we watched Bryson DeChambeau drive. Well, in order to watch Bryson DeChambeau drive, you exit the grandstands on 11, you walk around the back, and then it wraps around to the 12th tee box. So we watched DeChambeau hit his approach. He hit it into the bunker. Then, much like he did on I think it was either the bunker or the rough right next to the bunker, but much like he did on 18 yesterday to claim the title, hits a stupid approach shot. And after he puts the ball in the hole, the fans are going bananas. Bryson DeChambeau, Joey B and I watched probably legitimately 40 golfers come by 11 on Saturday over the course of the day. Most of them, though, you've seen the golfer wave of acknowledgement where they grab the ball out of the hole and then they'll just kind of like hit you with that, just like they'll just kind of raise the hand up. Yeah, for sure. DeChambeau like acknowledged everybody in the crowd, raises the putter to him, gives him the whole shebang, like full acknowledgement of what the crowd was doing. Then As he leaves 11, Joey B and I exit the grandstand. We walk around to the 12th tee box. We want to cross over 12 because it had a better angle to see where his drive goes down the fairway. So we cross over 12. We get to the other side. Here comes Bryson DeChambeau, walks up to the box. And I'm watching the guy walk up to the box. This is in the middle of not the last round of the day, a competitive round, a round that is going to determine how much, if any, of a lead that Bryson DeChambeau is going to take into the Sunday final. And what is this guy doing? As he walks from 11 to 12, great one, he's fist bumping every kid he walks by. He's high-fiving people. There was a gentleman there in a wheelchair, a special needs gentleman there in a wheelchair. Bryson leaned over and gave him a hug and dapped him up. Like, this guy just gets it now. And then we're on the drive home, and I'm like, you know what I need to do? I need to, because I've come across a couple videos, but I've never really deep dived it. I need to check out Bryson DeChambeau's YouTube channel. So I did. And he's got on that YouTube channel, he's got some great stuff, man. Like, if you've never seen it, and if you are a golf guy, Bryson DeChambeau's YouTube channel is a gold mine. I went in there. I think I've talked about this one before, but there is a video on there of where he plays golf with a set of golf clubs from the 1930s. There is a golf video in there where he goes and he attacks a course with the cheapest golf clubs he could find at Walmart to see if, are we selling golf clubs to guys that maybe want to get into the game, don't know if they can spend money? Would the equipment damage their ability to play? Like, it's a phenomenal channel, man. So I went and looked it up. And then I looked up the analytics of his channel because, again, I'm a gigantic dork. Bryson DeChambeau, that one guy by himself, according to the analytics, this was all before he won yesterday, will surpass the YouTube subscriber count, great one, of the PGA Tour itself. One guy. Going to outdraw the entire tour on YouTube because he's just like the redemption arc of Bryson DeChambeau made it great to renew my fandom of this guy on Saturday to be able to celebrate his win yesterday. We'll talk a lot about the Open today. We'll get into the NBA because, my goodness, on Friday, Rob Brown said, we're going to have a sweep in both. And both the teams on the verge of sweeping did not lose. They got their asses beat.
He also got the true definition of a blowout.
Yep. It was embarrassing. I sat in North Carolina in a little BS dive bar Friday night at 11:30, trying to explain myself before I went live on a stream to do it, and then was like, nope, you know what? Just eat it. Just eat the crow. Get on the air Monday. So here we are. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate. They shock you. My legs are very sore.
Oh, I know. Thought he was going to eat it there for a second. Like, oh no. We've got to Rob Brown down. Creepy weather guy. Let's look at the weather. Today, Armageddon. Fire will fall from the sky. Frogs will suddenly have a desire for human flesh. And it might rain.
MyNewLifeWeightLoss.com and schedule your free consultation. Our expert team will discuss your health goals, help determine the root causes of your weight issues, and put you on a path to success. Call 864-719-2550. That's 864-719-2550. Or mynewlifeweightloss.com. That's mynewlifeweightloss.com.
The TTI Tool Sale is back. Top brands and huge savings on power tools, floor care products, and outdoor power equipment. Friday 9 to 6 and Saturday 9 till the tools are gone. Exit 27 and
Those are really cool.
Subject to product availability and weather. For complete rules on contests of this station, go to thefanupstate.com.
So I may have to get me some of those. You're wondering what I'm talking about? Glow in the dark valve stem caps for your car tires. Those look really cool. I don't know if they work, but
What's that?
glow in the dark tire valve dust caps. So you put them on your tires,
Yep.
and then as the tires are spinning, it just looks like solid neon on the tires. Do they come in red? I guess not. Oh, there's a red one in there. So it would have to be that glow in the dark green, yellow color or whatever that is.
Hey, do you want to play hooky one day this week and go see the Star Wars exhibit at the Upstate County History Museum?
Why would it be playing hooky? I mean, you mean going after the show?
Yeah.
Sure. I've seen bits and pieces of them setting it up.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Jeff Martin Auctioneers. Jeff Martin Auctioneers presents the two-day East Coast Construction and Transportation Public Auction in Pelzer on Wednesday, June 19th and Thursday, June 20th. Bid your way live.
All right, stream, where you guys at?
It's hot outside, man. Come on. Come on, Tim. I shouldn't have to remind you every day.
Listen on your phone, download the Odyssey app, and search the Fan Upstate.
There's a whole lot more to know about sound if you really want to go into the subject.
Your smart speaker. Just say play 97 The Fan Upstate on your HD radio at WFBC HD3. This is one more thing. And on your computer at
TheFanUpstate.com.
Early birds get the sports.
The Rob Brown Show carries on. It's the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Spectacular, as always, to have you. I am Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, on the ones and twos today. Should you elect to be a part of the radio broadcast, there's a very simple, fun, exciting way to do it. It is the renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone at 844-326-3663. You can text us 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. You can also tweet us at The Rob Brown Show. Shoot us a follow there. Follow Lonzo at Lonzo on Word. Follow us all at The Fan Upstate. We'll be off and on about the U.S. Open today because I know golf's big, but I also know it is still, as much as I love it, it's a niche sport, right? Like, I know it's not something that is going to knock the pants off of everybody, but for those of us that are golf guys and golf gals, it's a great weekend. It's a great weekend with a lot of drama to it, right? I talked a little bit about it last week. And then today, it's all that much more impactful even than it was last week. And I'm going to tell you, I fist bumped myself a little bit last week for bringing this up, that for bringing this up in a way that proved fruitful this weekend. And that is, as we have mentioned, the redemption arc of Bryson DeChambeau, which has been stellar to watch. If not for the golf aspect of it, which is a golf guy, Bryson DeChambeau is a hell of a golfer to watch right now. He's playing great golf. In fact, if you think about it, Bryson DeChambeau is obviously on the LIV Tour right now. And here's how I knew what Bryson DeChambeau is doing is special. Joey B and I were driving back from the tournament Saturday evening. We decided to haul it back after the show. And we were having this conversation. Like, think about this cat. A couple of years ago, he was one of the most unlikable clowns on the circuit. A couple of years ago, he and Brooks Koepka were throwing shade at each other publicly. A couple of years ago, everybody on the tour was busting this guy up for being a bit of a dork, right? And now he's arguably the most likable guy on the tour. Realistically, right now, today, name me another guy on the tour that is more likable than Bryson DeChambeau. I challenge you to do it. I don't think there is one. There are other guys that are likable, but I don't think anybody else is as liked right now as that guy. We went on and on about this for about 15, 20 minutes on the interstate on the drive home. And after about 15 to 20 minutes, Joe said, you know what the most disappointing thing about this is going to be? And I said, what's that, Joe? And Joe said that he's going to go back and start playing Live Tour events, and this is the last time we'll see Bryson DeChambeau until he wraps back around to the Open in Britain.
Maybe live, but you can watch the Live Tour on CW.
I don't disagree.
So you can watch them on CW.
And yet I have not, right? I have not. I'll tell you right now. Let's play a little game. Text line's open, 71307. Honor system in play. Text me where the next Live Tour event's at. Just I don't even need the name of the golf club. Text me where it is. Text me the country it's in.
Where's the next PGA Tour event?
We're going to the Scottish Open in a couple of weeks, and that'll be the next big one that I'm excited about.
That's not the next one, though.
Again, the PGA Tour is on its TV every single week. Is Scottish Open next? I think there's a break between the Open and the Scottish. It's the Travelers. It's the Travelers Championship in Connecticut this weekend. And then the Rocket Mortgage Classic in Detroit. Then we get some on-course action from our old colleague up in Detroit for the Rocket Mortgage Classic.
Oh, you know he's going to be
big golf guy.
He is a huge golf guy for sure.
Scottish Open's, I got my dates wrong. Scottish Open is next weekend of next month. That's why I blew it. Either way, Travelers Championship's on this weekend. That's a $20 million purse. Yeah, I'll be turning it on.
Maybe we should send a text to our co-part in Detroit.
I will say this. The Travelers Championship has a problem. The Travelers Championship's problem is that these Live Tour guys, predominantly Bryson DeChambeau, showed up this weekend. Did Bryson DeChambeau, and made some drama for some PGA Tour guys, and now all those names just aren't going to be there next week.
So is there a possibility that golf fans go, you know what? I'm not watching the PGA. I want to watch where the winners are.
Nope.
And they switch over to the LIV.
Nope. And I say nope because it's watered down on both ends now. It's watered down on both ends. Number one, there's already a literal buttload of guys who are never going to – Bryson DeChambeau could win 10 majors in a row, and they're never going to go to the Live Tour because of either A, how the Live Tour is funded, its founding and administrative entities, and number two, because it's a watered-down product that has not sold its structure to the fan base. And that's not to say it never will. As a matter of fact, I had a conversation with two guys from Sarasota in the grandstands at 11 that came up for the event that go to the Live Tour event at the Trump National Course down in Florida every year. And I was like, legit, how is it? Like, honestly, it's a lot of fun. It's just it's a different vibe, right? Because the Live Tour turns their tournaments into more of a party atmosphere. They got DJs and dance music around the when we walked into the US Open this Saturday, What you go through the little funnel in, and then they have the pavilion for the fans, but there's not really anything happening, right? They got a bunch of tents set up by sponsoring companies that are trying to sell you stuff. All right, I'm not here to buy a new credit card, bud. I'm here to watch some golf. They got a gigantic merch tent, and then there's really nothing else to do but watch the golf. Fine, that's great. That's what I'm here for. I didn't spend that much money on a ticket to go whatever.
What, do you want a golf experience where you can get out there and I mean, like they
no, but
like
I'm saying
the NFL
there's not like NFL games, right? This is one of the things that they're trying to do with the money that is being hunted down by TEP. Is they're trying to build a big outdoor fan area outside of the stadium that'll have music and televisions and food and drink and all this. And they didn't really have that at the Open. Now, as I think I said last week, this was my first PGA Tour event. I've been to a lot of Champions Tour events, Senior Tour events. I've been to a number of Women's Tour, LPGA Tour events. That was my first PGA Tour event. And I really didn't know what to expect. I did expect more in terms of, I don't know what the word I would use for it is, sideshow, I guess. Like the focus is obviously on golfing golfers, as it should be. But I expected there'd be more stuff. And there really wasn't more stuff, which is, again, it's fine. The Live Tour is the exact opposite. They make it a party. They do a shotgun start. With Saturday, we had two guys go off at 8:45 a.m. Brooksy and Molinari went off at 8:45. And Joey B, were able to, and I just stayed one shot ahead of them. So we'd go to the middle of the hole, watch them hit their drive. When it landed by us, we'd walk up to the green, watch them hit their approach. When they were putting, walk to the next tee box. And it was fine. But it's like, for a couple of hours, you got 4-6 guys on the course versus the Live Tour where everybody's out there at the same time. And everybody starts at the same time. Regardless of the structure or the format, and whether or not it will long-term win things over. Because, Lonzo, you and I have had this discussion many, many times. You know what you want? You know what you have to do if you want people to buy into a change that you've made in a sport? Just wait. Just wait. Think about all of the complaints that we have had about changes in sports over the years, and how many of y'all have ever truly said, oh, there's too many changes, I'm not coming back, and not come back. Very few of you. Very few of you.
See college football fans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's a wild, wild west. It's not my college football. Oh, I'm out. And then we turned in the highest ratings for a season ever in the game. And I got to guess about what's going to happen to that next year with the 12-team playoff. To the moon. Point here is, there are already a lot of people who are never going to give the Live Tour a chance. Will that change with time? I don't know. What I do know is the Live Tour this upcoming weekend is in Nashville, Tennessee. It's next door. That's what, 5 hours from here? 4 hours from here? Theoretically, realistically, I should have guys in my circle right now that are hitting me with texts going, Rob Brown, we doing the Live Tour event this weekend? And put me in a real weird spot to say no. Because on one hand, I really dislike the Live Tour. On the other hand, Bryson DeChambeau is the most likable guy on the tour, to the point that for a 20-minute conversation about this cat on Saturday night, I forgot he was in the Live Tour. Forgot it. And OBT Dubs, since we're getting controversial up in here, Bryson DeChambeau and I could not disagree on politics more. Could not have a completely different philosophical standing. And yet, I look at that guy and go, I pull for him. I actively am now searching out Bryson DeChambeau # content because he's just made himself a likable dude. All right, later on in the show, we'll talk about the collapse of Rory McIlroy. We'll tell some more stories from the weekend, including my run-in with Get in the Hole guy, and a lot more. It's all coming up on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
action on Sunday. Tennessee beat North Carolina at 6-1. Florida State with a 7-3 win over Virginia. Today, NC State takes on Florida.
Oh, man.
NASCAR Cup Series Sunday at Iowa. Ryan Blaney took the checkered flag. William Byron ran second. Chase Elliott finished third. Cup Series action resumes next week at New Hampshire. The Braves came up short Sunday, falling 8-6 at home against Tampa. Jose Siri hit a tie-breaking 2-run homer in the ninth. Austin Riley hit a 2-run homer in the eighth for Atlanta to tie the game.
Oh, I guess Monday Night Raws must watch tonight now, huh?
Yeah, but there's a problem. NBA's on at the same time.
Oh, that's right. Well, the Bro Cave will be getting the work in tonight. James, good morning, buddy. Welcome in. Great to have you.
I won't be up for the end of either one. So, and Uncle Howdy ain't going to show up till the end.
You think?
There's a countdown timer. I didn't see when. I just saw it earlier.
You know, I saw it last night at 23 hours, and I didn't do the math in my head to see, and I don't remember what time it was.
Okay, I don't. That still says 22 hours. That's not right.
As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Granger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Granger.
So apparently the counter started like 3 days ago.
Started last week.
Yeah. Hey, it's me, your couch.
Yo, couch.
Nothing like a good spray out. Get me smelling so fresh and clean. Don't forget my bag. Nice. Febreze Fabric Spray. It's just that easy. Now we can both breathe. Happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Now at O'Reilly, get 2 bottles of Lucas Fuel Treatment for $9 and receive 2 times O Rewards points. In store only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Staples can print
I went.
to move your business forward. Like
I ate, drank, and enjoyed Saturday.
Some even same day. And now at Staples, save up to $50.
We did the pedometer. We turned in about 6.5 miles over 8 hours of walking Saturday. I somehow lost weight this weekend. I was sweating.
I was going to say the heat.
Everything.
Yeah, for sure.
The Rob Brown Show continues. Rob, Lonzo, you. Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas. Fan phone 844-326-3663. The text line 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. We'll read them on the air. Tweet me at The Rob Brown Show. Tweet Lonzo at Lonzo on Word. Tweet us all at The Fan Upstate. We mentioned it on the way out there. Let's start our conversation because there will be multiple of them today. I had but one question late Saturday Eve as I sat in a dive bar in Cheraw, South Carolina. You ever been to Cheraw? Great one.
I believe I've been through it. I don't think I actually stopped because I might have been afraid, but I don't know.
We stopped. We booked a hotel in Cheraw because getting any closer to Pinehurst Village took the hotel rates up about 10 times what they cost in Cheraw. Cheraw about 45 minutes away from Pinehurst. So we were like, let's just crash. We'll give ourselves an hour drive in the AM. That'll work. That's fine. No worries. So we stopped in Cheraw. We got there because we left. Joy B.I. went and played 18 on Friday. I went home, packed up the gear, jumped in the rig, we took off and got to Chirac at, I don't know, 8 p.m., 8:30, something like that, right around tip of the game. And so we got to the hotel, put the stuff down, said, let's go find us somewhere to eat, somewhere to grab a beer. So we left. We drove to a place that I was going to remember the name of because I was going to shout them out, and then I just forgot what it was because I'm a bad person. Either way, we drove to a dive bar and sushi grill.
Okay, hold on. I mean, that's
rolling the dice.
What are the restrooms like there? I'm just curious.
Very shockingly clean. I don't know how to say this without sounding like the worst person. Okay? But I want you to know, this is exactly why I picked the bar. You bounced up in there at 8:30. There's basketball on the television, and scattered around the bar are the most eclectic group of people that I could describe to you. All right? There was one table that had to have 2 Gramps in there. I mean, they had to be in their 80s, knocking back shots of whiskey like they were sponsored by Jack Daniels. There was a ongoing birthday party of a young lady in her early to mid-20s. I mean, this place was just a beautiful little subsection of America. And also just a dirty little dive. Very kind. So they were like, we'll stay open as long as y'all keep buying. We're like, all right. So we sat there and we watched the game. And as we proceeded to watch the Boston Celtics get the kicked out of them by the Dallas Mavericks, in what was, and I mean this, the most unexpected result of a sporting contest in my life. I do not mean an upset. I don't mean a shocking upset. I've seen a lot of shocking upsets. What I mean is that was the most one-sided, lopsided, shocking bleep show of a game in my lifetime. It was almost a 50-point game by a team that was down 0-3. There has never been a result that was more on its head than that one.
Most fun I've had watching basketball in a long time.
I had no doubt that you were staring at the screen with great glee.
I was thinking of you. I don't know why.
I know.
I don't know
yeah,
why.
you do. Yeah, you do. I sat in a bar stool in Chirac, South Carolina.
I started to send you a text. I wish I had. I was going to ask how you were doing.
I'd be full of bleep if I didn't tell you I wasn't waiting for it. And I told Joe, I'm like, Zoe's going to hit me up, and I have nothing to say. I got nothing. This will be the first text that I don't ignore because I'm forgetful, that I intentionally go and delete.
That's why I didn't send it.
That game ended. And I sat in a dive bar, Chirac, South Carolina, watching this game, great one, on a television equivalent to the one that your teacher used to roll in on that squeaky-ass metal cart on Fridays when she, now that we're older, we all know, had a hangover and didn't want to deal with you. And she rolled in and said, all right, there's going to be a quiz on this episode of Bill Nye at the end of the class. So watch closely because there's going to be a quiz on Bill Nye. Play. Right? That kind of TV. That's what I watched this game on. And so I watched this game. The game ends, and Joey B and I are sitting there and breaking this game down because I put a little bit on the sweep. Not a lot. I put a little bit on the sweep. And then when Dallas went up, what was it at halftime? 30 some odd at halftime, right at 30 at halftime?
Yeah, it was a lot.
It's like 28, 30, 34 at halftime. I looked and I said, oh, you know what? We're in North Carolina. I can gamble without having to leave the state this time. So I'll tell you, like most of the props, like you can bet props here by using Prize Picks or whatever. You can bet props. When I want to bet games, I gotta drive, right? That's okay with me. I don't mind it. I enjoy it. I make my game selections for a couple of weeks, whatever, a couple of days. So I'm like, we're in North Carolina. Let's fire it up. I was very close to telling Joe.
Yeah, but you weren't in North Carolina.
I'm finishing the thought.
Okay.
I was very close to telling Joe at halftime, Mavs up 28-30, whatever it was, get in the truck. We are driving 10 minutes into North Carolina because I can get Boston plus 26.5 right now. 26.5. I'm like, there's no way. No way. They're not going to rally to be inside of 26.5. And then Joe goes, dude, there are days where you just got to cut your bait, right? There are days you just got to move on and take the L.
The voice of reason.
Yeah, he was. He said, sometimes you just got to eat the L, bud.
In a bar that sells sushi, a voice of reason.
Yep. He said, you got to leave it in the back pocket, eat the L, move on. And I was like, all right, fine, whatever. And I'm real glad it worked out that way because I'm going to tell you, I'd have bet the farm Boston would be inside of, again, 26.5 points at the end of that game. And God, it was almost 50.
It could have been worse.
I don't know how much more.
I believe Luka sat down for the fourth quarter, didn't he?
Yeah, but so did the Celtics.
That's what I'm saying.
Everybody got pulled.
So if Luka stayed out there, it could have been worse.
Well, if Luka would have stayed out there, they probably would have ran their guys out there and just hope. But again,
and then it would have been worse because he was rolling that night.
Regardless of how it went down, it's over in 5. Boston's winning the next game.
So tonight.
Yes.
Tonight, Boston's winning.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Same confidence you had Friday.
Yes.
Okay.
Same gusto.
Okay. All right.
Because here's the projection from me. Everybody is going to lean hard into, see, Dallas, see, they're better, see. But here's the reality.
Shots finally fell that we're not falling the first couple games. I mean, if
correct. And then where do they play tonight?
In Boston.
Not at home.
So?
Not at home.
So Boston doesn't play well.
What do you mean? Boston lost 4 games at home this year.
4. They lost. Are you sure about that number?
Yes.
You're absolutely
in
sure.
the regular season, they lost 4 games at home.
All right.
I know it doesn't sound real. In the regular season, Boston lost 4 games at the house. And if I recall correctly, like 2 of them were in the last week and a half after they had long clinched the number 1 seed.
Well, here's what I hope. I hope Boston comes in with the same attitude that you have. That's, we got this, because that's the attitude they had Friday, and you see what happened.
See, I disagree. I don't think it was. I think the attitude they had Friday was, let's go in there, let's make it a. And I'll tell you for the record, because this series, for those of you that are not watching, this series and the Stanley Cup are the same series. Because Boston Boston got hammered after being up 3-0. The Florida Panthers went up 3-0, and Edmonton beat them 8-1 in the Stanley Cup final game.
Here's what I think. If Dallas were to come back and win this whole thing, the money that you win on that, you should have to give to me.
If they do, I am absolutely not going to do that. Because the money that I might win if they do that might pay for everything I got left to pay for in the wedding prep. All right. That being said, I did put, and I said this, I put 2 bets down on this series. One of them was Dallas in 6, and one of them was Dallas in 7. And you got longer odds, Dallas in 7, which if Dallas wins, it has to be. And now before anybody goes, wait a minute, Rob, no team has ever come back down from 3-0 and won a series. I understand. You know what else has happened? No team, Lonzo, has ever won in NBA Finals in which they lost the game by 36 points or more. Teams have lost games by 36 in the finals. None of those teams have won in NBA Finals. So somebody in this series somebody is going to do something that has never been done in the association's history. It's either going to be Dallas coming back down from 3-0 and becoming the first team to make that happen, or it's going to be Boston becoming the first team to lose a game by 38 or more and still win the NBA Finals. It's going to be Boston. Because Dallas, even with a Saturday and a Sunday to rest, Dallas shot their wad on Friday night. Dallas went full afterburner, Top Gun, up the side of the mountain, roll over to the other side. Or Star Wars, because it was the same thing. But Dallas, I think blew the gas tank in that game. And even with 2 days rest, it is no secret, or if it is, it's a very thinly veiled one. It is no secret that Luka Doncic is sore. He's beat up, all right? He just is. Did he play an incredible game Friday night? You're damn right he did. He was finally Luka Doncic. Kyrie Irving, going back to Boston, where he stank the first 2 games that they played there. I think Dallas had one of those leave it all on the floor, come back with your shield or on it kind of nights. And I don't see how they follow that up with another similar performance. And I don't think I trust Dallas if this is a 4-point game either direction going into the fourth quarter. Now, I will say this. Luka looked a lot better. Looked like he had calmed down, right? Looked like he had taken all the criticism to heart. Looked like when he wasn't getting his way, he had kind of reserved it to, I'll just go sit on the bench and let the boys chirp for me. And I respect and appreciate that. That's a shift of mentality that I think Dallas had to have out of Luka Doncic. But again, not only do you now have to go back to Beantown, but now you have to go back to Beantown, and you know how their fans feel right now. They can say they're not. Their fans got to be, like, making diamonds right now, as the expression goes, right?
Nah, they're like, it was just one game. It ain't no big deal. We got this.
I mean, that's the thing that people that are very nervous say. It's just one game. It's just one game. What are we worried about? And for the record, I actually do agree with that. I do look at it as, it is one game, my guys. Like, maybe let's not lose our damn minds over this. It is one game. Granted, it was an ass whooping of a one game.
It's one game, but you saw what happened. That was bad.
But I think that there came a point, even with the starters left in, I actually think that Boston waved the white flag about midway, 8 minutes left to go in the third is around when I think Boston waved the white flag. However, what I think Boston did was, even though they were ready to go ahead and concede that game, which I think they did, they were ready to concede that game, and I think they did so, but elected to leave the starters in anyway. And the reason you leave the starters in is because you know that's a game that Dallas has to keep the pedal pinned to the proverbial metal. And if you bring out your starters to rest them, Dallas gets to rest theirs too. So you leave your starters out there and put another level of exhaustion on them to make Dallas do the same thing, because Dallas is full tilt, full afterburner, running out of gas on this, and your guys aren't. So I think Boston played an interesting strategy, and I do think they'll be ready for tonight. I think they will get the win. If they do not, tomorrow, Lonzo might be insufferable. We'll find out. I'll tell you what else Lonzo is: an absolute Bryson DeChambeau of sports flashes.
Insufferable, no. Endearing, obviously. In the College World Series, the Tennessee Volunteers demolished the North Carolina Tar Heels 6-1 to remain perfect in the top half of the bracket. North Carolina and FSU will play Tuesday, with the winner advancing to take on the Volunteers. Meeting tonight, NC State plays Florida in an elimination game, with the winner advancing to take on the loser of the Kentucky versus Texas A&M game. The winner of that contest will need one more win to advance to the title series. I hope you're not confused. Ryan Blaney got his first NASCAR Cup win of the year late last night in the Iowa Corn 350. Blaney led 201 laps and beat second place William Byron. Make sure you tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new spanking local show, Wire to Wire. Cole, Bryson, and Diesel. Get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate. It's all Wire to Wire.
Are you worried that you may not be able to enjoy the summer as much as you want because of joint pain? It is the best time to be outdoors, but not if your knees or your shoulders or your back or your hips are hurting, right? Hey, it's Rob Brown. Don't suffer any longer. Non-surgical joint pain relief is here at QC Kinetics. Call them right now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I am talking.
But it adds up.
Very quick.
Hi, Lonzo.
Hey, Chris.
Coming to inquire about the thing that happened on Saturday.
Which part?
Uh,
All right. Mike 3 and 4 did not work.
so the ones that are like over. on
So
the
if you're
corner,
looking, Mike 1 will be on this side and be yeah.
Where are you
1,
sitting?
2, 3, 4. I was sitting in 4 and at the corner looking at the door. That mic did not work. The one next to it did not work. So we eventually, even though he was working on it, he could not make it work. So I had to switch mics, jump over to Cameron was on the one closest to the wall. That one was working. So 1 and 2 worked. The other 2 did not. So partway through the first segment, I had to jump over there. He tried to reset the board afterwards, thinking it would make it work, and it didn't. I don't know if he got it done before he left. He never texted me or left me an email or anything. Knew that there might be a problem because even though you guys test the room, until there's a full live show in there, I mean, and I obviously he knew that too, or he wouldn't have been there. So
that specifically was why he came in.
Yeah.
He wanted to make sure that everything works all right because that literally is the first live show that we've done
Right.
in that room.
Right. And I knew that. I knew going into it that was going to be that. Said that when we were on the air that was going to happen. There was some frustration on the other side of the board, and had to calm him down. And then eventually I moved Cameron to Matthew was only there for an hour because he had D&D. So I moved Cameron to another room reluctantly.
Sorry, I can only work for an hour. I got to go play D&D.
Dude, he's a
You were
guest.
wrong.
He's
Me
a
too.
guest.
Hey, yeah.
And by the way, I have no problem with that.
No,
it's for
I
that
just-
show. It works perfect.
I wish I could
Yeah.
tell Andrew that. Like,
Yeah. Well, you probably could. Doesn't mean it would be accepted. But in this case,
that's what I mean.
in this case,
it was
it
accepted.
in this case, it worked out. I hated putting Cameron in another room. Andrew's like, well, it should be all right. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to. What if he kicks something? And what if he kicks a wire or something and it doesn't work for Charlie? I mean, in the end, then he can't come anymore and I get in trouble. So, but it worked out okay. I mean, when you think what's the worst thing that could
Who's
happen?
the guy that looks like he wants to play Hannibal Lecter in the 18 reboot? Or
Oh, that's Christian Cage. He's
that was the wrong Hannibal.
No.
Maybe that would be an interesting crossover, though.
I will tell you. Oh crap. Oh no, that's right. Never mind. It's a little early. My bad. That guy that you're looking at is your dad, and he's my dad, and he's
The
Rob's
patriarch.
dad. Yes.
And he's glad your real dad's dead.
Yeah, that's what he does. He finds people whose dad died and says he's there. It's
One of my favorite gimmicks.
he's a
in the
wrestler.
history of
It's messed
wrestling.
up. It is.
And away we go. Our Numerados of the Rob Brown Radio program starts now right here on the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown of the Great Lonzo with you. The renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phones open 844 FANFONE. That's 844-326-3663. You can text us on the text line. It's open for you as well at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. You guys are quiet this morning. I do not care that it is Monday, all right? I need you. I need you up. I need you active. We got a busy show lined up for you today. Coming up at 8:40, we've got John Blau of the Post and Courier. We will talk some Clemson athletics with him, as obviously we are in the heat of Cruton season. So we'll talk to John Blau at 8:40. At 8:20, a very special guest. It is soon to be former head coach of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, Andrew Lord, will be joining the show. Lordo has accepted a job to move up to Canada and do a little coaching in a Canadian junior league, puts him a step closer to working with the big show. So we will talk to Lordo about his decision to accept that position and make his way up to America's hat. We will talk to him and allow him to reflect a little bit about his time here in Greenville, South Carolina. And as he is staying on in a consulting role for a couple of more weeks leading up to his ultimate departure and helping to find his replacement, we'll talk to him about what he sees as the future of our hockey club as he departs and takes a step forward in the world. Very happy for and proud of Andrew Lord, who has been a phenomenal guy in his time here in the GVL. That's coming up at 8:20 this morning. So we will be busy in that 8 o'clock hour, which means if you'd like to get in on the phone lines, if you'd like to get in on the text line, now is the time to do it at 844-326-3663 or at 71307 on the text line. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. All of that going on in the next hour, but to open up this hour, my dudes and my dudettes, we got to let you know what's going on in the world of sports. There's a lot going on in the world of sports, but there are some things that stick out more than the rest in the world of sports, and those things are the three things you'll be talking about when you get to the office. Those things are the three things on today's Water Cooler Cheat Sheet.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the three top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
"To me, Peru. Do you feel him, sir?"
I do. First bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It's the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet, the top three sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports with your coworkers this morning. When you gather around the water cooler, these are the things that you will be discussing. Let us begin with item number one. We have talked about it at length so far today, and we continue to do so now. Bryson DeChambeau captured his second U.S. Open yesterday, held off a back nine charge from Rory McIlroy in a golf course that was set up to be, to steal some words from Scotty Scheffler, a torture chamber. I'll tell you right now, seeing it in person, seeing it on TV is one thing. Seeing it in person is a different breed of cat.
Do you look at that? I mean, you and Joe, were you looking at it going, okay, I would have played it this way.
Yep.
Here's how. Okay. All right.
Again, golf is not as much knowing what to do as being able to do what to do. Here's what I mean. Joey B and I can sit there and look at approach shots and where guys are and go, all right, I'd take this ball flight and I'd send it that way and do this and do that. Being able to step up, grab a golf club, and do that is what makes golf hard. Now, there are guys who see the course differently. There are guys that have to realize that my ability ain't that. right? When Bryson DeChambeau pipes it out there 40 yards longer than the guy he's playing with, the spot that he puts the golf ball creates a second shot opportunity that the first guy doesn't have. He's got access to different areas of the golf course that a guy that's 20, 30 yards shorter than him does not have in the bag. And being able to recognize that and play to that is massively important. So, the sitting there on, I mean, any of the holes we looked at, but Joey B spent most of our time, we spent most of our time sitting on the grandstands at 11. And obviously, as you watch more guys come through and you learn which spots of the green are difficult and where guys are missing, we watched, I think, 17 golfers come through and saw one birdie on 11 because everybody was hitting the right spot, but everybody was reading the green wrong. Everybody was missing from the same spot, hole out right, quarter cup. Everybody. And it's real frustrating because it's like, if I can just yell, wherever you think it's going, aim left, right? But I can't. That's not how it works. Seeing it play out, man, this course was designed with the most evil of intentions. And it showed up that way. It showed up that way. Bryson DeChambeau answered. Now, I will point out that Rory McIlroy had a real opportunity in the closing moments of the contest. Rory McIlroy had a one-stroke deficit to make up with 4 holes to play, while Bryson DeChambeau spent Sunday scrambling around the course. A ton of shots in the, what do they call it? The native area. Sand and pine straw. Like a lot of sand and a lot of pine straw. A lot of scrambling for Bryson DeChambeau, which opens the door for anybody that can go birdie hunting to walk in. Rory McIlroy was that guy. And then he got to 15 and he bogeyed it. And then he got to 16 and he bogeyed it. And then he got to 17 and he had a chance to par it or to birdie it and he parred it. And then he got to 18 and he stands over a putt on 18 that gave him an opportunity to potentially tie up Bryson DeChambeau or at least force Bryson DeChambeau to birdie 18, or else this thing would have gone to a playoff. And Rory McIlroy missed a 3-foot, 9-inch putt that would have given him at least a chance to win. Here's the wildest part about that, and the part that I found the most interesting of that. There's a dude on golf that's just a stat guy, a nerd guy. And he went and he looked it up. Putting in, I said 3 foot 9. It was 2 feet 9 inches. To either send it to a playoff or at least force Bryson DeChambeau to birdie for the win, or if Bryson DeChambeau bogeys 18, win the thing outright. 2 feet 9 inches. He missed it. He was 496 for 496 from inside of 3 feet this season going up to that putt. He has hit 497 putts from 3 feet or shorter this year. He has missed one of them, and it was the one that we would learn a handful of minutes later when DeChambeau finished up that would have forced a playoff between him and Bryson.
So all the video that I'm seeing of Rory leaving and leaving some rubber on the road, that's real.
Yep.
Okay.
And we are going to talk about that coming up in just a minute. Because, yes, Rory got lambasted last night on social media because after Bryson knocked down the game-winning putt, Rory was gone, dude. Like, could not get in the car fast enough to leave Pinehurst. And I do want to address that. But Bryson DeChambeau wins his second U.S. Open at Pinehurst this weekend. And boy, howdy, it wasn't fun. It was. Item number 2 on the water cooler cheat sheet. The Braves trying to get it going. They're trying to get it going. Atlanta had a 3-game series with the Tampa Bay Rays this weekend. They took game 1, 7-3. They took game 2, 9-2. Yesterday, they lined it up for the sweep, and they did not get it done. Now, in fairness, there was a little bit of tragedy that struck that may or may not have had some mental impact on the Braves, as ex-MLB big leaguer, and hitting instructor Mike Brumley, we found out he was killed in a car accident on Saturday night in Mississippi. 61 years of age, played in the Big Show from 87 to 95, most recently served as a minor league coach and instructor for the Bravos from 2018 to 2022. But in that time, and up until just a few weeks ago, when he was flown out to Baltimore, Maryland, he had been working with Braves third baseman and returning all-star Austin Riley on hitting. He had a very close relationship with a number of the Atlanta Braves. He passes away. The Braves still have to come out and play on Sunday, and they drop the final of that series 8-6. They did go with the rookie hurler Hudson Waldrop. Once again, Waldrop gave up 6 earned runs and struck out just 2, a pair of dingers allowed as well, in just 3.1 innings of work. Hudson Waldrop, within hours, was reassigned back down to minor league baseball. Not a real shock, all right? My guy had very little time to develop in the minor leagues, very little time to learn the big league ways before he got the call up due to the rash of injuries the Bravos have suffered. They wanted to be able to lean on the pen. They were for a couple of innings, as the Braves were able to get a handful of dingers out of this one. Travis d'Arnaud went yard in the second. Austin Riley went dinger in the 8th. Jared Kelenic went dinger in the 1st. The Bravos were able to tie that game up in the bottom of the 8th with a couple of spots. But then Raisel Iglesias, a dedicated closer, a guy that has largely been trustworthy for Atlanta, gave up 2 more in the top of the 9th. And ultimately, the Rays would come into the ATL and prevent the sweep. However, the good news is, after that weekend, the Braves now back to 38-31. The Braves find themselves once again well up above the 500 mark that they have been so afraid of for the past couple of weeks. It does keep them checked in second to the Philadelphia Phillies. However, here's the good news. The Bravos have started climbing back onto the winning wagon. Kinda. Let's not get ludicrous. It's like 4 out of the last 5. But the Phillies are 5-5 in their last 10, and the lead in the NL East has shrunk now down to 8.
Wait. So they've won 4 out of the last 5, but that's just they're still not back?
Yes. Okay. What happened before that, though?
Okay, but they've won 4 out of the last 5.
Yes. But let's not pretend like the lead up to that wasn't atrocious. They are 4-6. 4 out of the last 5.
Are all baseball fans like you, or is it just, I mean, because I don't, you're the
Sorry, I lied. 3 out of the last 5,
okay.
Not 4.
Okay, you're the only baseball fan that I know. And so,
that you know.
That I know, yeah.
Just period, that you have any communication with.
Yeah, period. You're the only baseball fan I know. So I have to base baseball fandom out of your reactions, and I don't know if that's normal or not.
I was going to go tell you to meet your neighbors, but then I realized you don't have any.
I mean, the squirrels may be into baseball. I don't know.
Atlanta now 38-31. They are 8 games back of Philly in the division. The lead over the Washington Nationals has now grown back up to 12, 13.5 over the Mets. In the National League as a whole, the Bravos are still very much in a wild card spot. In the NL, the Phillies are the best. They have 47 wins. The Brew Crew have 42 wins. The Dodgers have 44. Those are your division leaders. Atlanta has 38. They are the first wild card team if the season ended today, which means they would open up with the Brewers in round 1, whereas the 37-win Padres would open with the Dodgers in round 1. But obviously, we're not even halfway through the season.
I was going to say, why are you talking about round 1 and not even halfway through the season? By the way, I need to amend what I said earlier, I do know more baseball fans because there's one down the hall for sure that I can't forget.
Rude.
Yeah, well,
how dare
I
you?
started thinking about that, and I don't want to get a text.
No, you don't. Don't the audacity of you.
He does this root for Kansas City. Though. Are they any good this year?
Yeah, they are.
Okay, all right, good.
The Royals have a better record than the Braves.
Okay, cool.
They are 41-32. They are 5 games out of the AL Central right now. Their 41 wins would check them in 3rd in the AL Beast. It would check them in 2nd in the AL West right now. The Kansas City Royals today would be the 2nd playoff wild card team in, behind only the Baltimore Orioles. Yes, the Royals are very good this year. Surprisingly good. I thought they'd be good, but this is ludicrous.
Okay, I know 2.5 because Snowman's also a fan.
Wow. That's audacity. Let's go to item number 3. Men's College World Series underway in Omaha, Nebraska, and it has been very, very interesting. The Tennessee Volunteers last night get a 6-1 win. They smother the North Carolina Tar Heels. Of course, North Carolina advanced from round 1 courtesy of a victory over the Virginia Cavaliers 3-2. The Florida State Seminoles on Friday night. I'm sorry, they got robbed. What do you want me to say? They got robbed. A check swing that would have been the last out of the game and sent Florida State into round 2 without a blemish. Ended up seeing an obvious check swing not called. Tennessee would then go on to score 4 more runs to win the game 12-11.
Obvious to who?
Literally anyone who knows a damn thing about baseball.
Okay, so you're saying the umpire that didn't call it doesn't know anything about baseball?
Clearly.
Okay, all right.
Clearly. It was in every sense. And before any one of you smartcastic people goes, there's nothing in the rule. In college baseball, there is. There is. If the hands of the batter extend out past the forward hip, it is a strike. That happened. It was not called. Florida State eats an L to Tennessee. Then on Saturday, we had the opening round of the bottom half of the bracket. Kentucky walks off NC State. Texas A&M able to get by Florida 3-2. We had in the first round 3 out of 4 games get walked off. The other game was a 3-2 final. Then we got to last night. Florida State stays alive with a 7-3 win over Virginia. The Cavaliers have been eliminated from contention. Tennessee smothers North Carolina 6-1. FSU will now get a second crack at Tennessee, but they will need to beat the Volunteers twice in order to advance to the final series. Tennessee just needs 1 win. Coming up this evening, Florida and NC State play at 2:00 this afternoon in an elimination game. The winner will move on to take on the loser of Texas A&M Kentucky. The winner of Texas A&M Kentucky will need to beat the winner of Florida or the winner of Florida versus the other team just once to move on. The winner of Florida NC State will have to defeat the loser of Texas A&M Kentucky, and then the winner of that game will have to defeat the winner of Texas A&M Kentucky twice in order to move on to the finals of the College World Series. We will keep you up to date on all of this as the show progresses. Texas says, my wife says I don't buy her flowers. To be honest, I didn't know she sold flowers.
Dad joke, right?
Yes. Yes. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we got some more golf I want to get to. We'll talk some Braves baseball, a little NFL, all coming up on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
We like.
All right, guys, quick live. We're coming right back. Stay right there, please, and thank you. walking back down the hallway. I want to go get me a new water. Walking back down the hallway, and I drop my phone. And you know how your instinct is to kick to stop, try to catch it with your foot to stop it from hitting the ground? You ever done that? The ninja kick? I ninja kicked it, and I ninja kicked it so hard that I kicked it back up into the air, and I caught it out of the air. Impressive. I'm wearing flip-flops. It hurts like an SOB because I just kicked a brick right off the top of my foot, and it hurts, dude.
Would you rather have a broken foot?
No, I mean, I'll sacrifice a couple of foot bones.
Toes don't really do a whole lot anyway. So, I mean, they help you with your balance, but that's about it. Unless you're a toe painter. I don't think you're a toe painter with your just like a feet.
I will tell you this. I've been won over by manicures and pedicures.
Oh, no.
I have.
No.
I never was that guy. The lady friend, the fiance, loves them. And so once a month, every other month or so, that's like, we alternate what we do for dates or whatever. And so every now and then when it's her pick for a date, she wants to go get manicures and pedicures together.
You sure she isn't doing it just so she can make fun of you?
No,
I'm just
she
saying.
does it because she loves them and she needs one anyway. And if I'm not doing anything, why not spend some time together? And I'll do anything she wants because she comes to all these games and whatnot with me. So I've started to go get them. And I'll tell you right now, it's not so much the toes as it is the little leg massage that comes with them. Oh, it's great. Texas said UNC plays FSU tomorrow. Winner has to beat Tennessee twice Wednesday and Thursday. You said FSU has to beat Tennessee twice. So what I meant to say was, and I apologize, thank you for correcting me, Texter. What I meant to say was the winner of FSU North Carolina has to beat Tennessee twice in order to make it to the final round.
Saying Florida's
got to play today.
Yeah, okay, all right.
If they lose today, they are out. If they win today, then they will have to play the winner of tonight's game and have to beat whoever that turn. Well, actually, if Florida wins today, they will have to play the loser of tonight's game, beat them, and then beat the winner of tonight's game twice to make it to the finals.
Wow, thank you for the clarification. No one's confused now.
I wouldn't think so. It's not that it's not that tough to follow.
All right.
If you're in the losers bracket, you can't lose again. If you are in the winners bracket, you have to win one more time. For Tennessee. The teams that play this evening have to win twice, but the teams that play this afternoon in the losers bracket game will have to win 3 more times. You're welcome for the explanation.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark for just a minute, shall we?
Oh, goody.
I know. So over the weekend, those two got together for another basketball game as Angel Reese and her Chicago Sky took on Caitlin Clark and her Indiana Fever. 91-83 your final. The Fever get win number 5 on the season. And whoa, slow your roll. Would you look at that great one? The Fever have more wins than the Chicago Sky now do. Oh my gosh, it looks like if you run an offense that springs open a three-point shooter, she'll make three-point shoots.
Okay, so I didn't know the Fever had won any game because there's no coverage on anything that Caitlin Clark does. So I'm surprised.
It really is kind of asinine how much she's ignored.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I wish she'd just get let's give her some attention here on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
All right, you do that. I'm not participating.
Caitlin Clark had 23 in that game. By the way, she did so on 7-11 from the floor, 3 of 7 from the arc, 6 free throws. She had 8 boards, 9 assists, and 5 turnovers, which is below the season average.
And 1 concussion.
And a concussion because in this game, Caitlin Clark had a run at a layup. Angel Reese, noted Caitlin Clark disliker, had a run, swiped, and this is where the controversy is, either at the basketball or at Caitlin Clark's head, depending on how you feel about the topic. I am willing to give Angel Reese the benefit of the doubt.
Dude, there was a windup.
I am willing.
When you go back just a little bit extra, they call that a windup.
I am willing to give her the benefit of the doubt that it was a basketball play on the ball, but I am going to say if it was an honest, legitimate play at the basketball, it was at the very least reckless and bad for her team. At the least. At the most, it was an egregious foul against the head of Caitlin Clark, something that every professional league everywhere is doing their best to get rid of. But if it was a genuine play on the basketball, then it was executed poorly. It was reckless. It is always going to result in a foul, and it is always going to result in damage to your team. Now, I am here for the Reese-Clark rivalry. I am here for it every time these two get together. I am here for it every time they chirp on the television screens. Give it to me. These are the things that make sports interesting and entertaining. And these are the things that, in a weird way, I do think the W is going to need to embrace. However, Angel Reese, I don't know if it is intentional or I don't know if she is just too oblivious to reality. Angel Reese, Lonzo, is doing a hell of a job making herself into the bad guy in this rivalry.
Which is, it's fine.
It's okay. Everybody loves a heel.
It's fine to have a heel as long as you're overall.
Say hello to the bad guy.
As long as the overall thing that you're doing doesn't hurt the product and the rise of the product, which she's in danger of doing, and so are some other girls.
And I think that is the conversation. It is one thing for these women to be busting up on Caitlin Clark for being the crown jewel of the league when she's won 5 games out of 15 so far. It is another thing when you start, if you feel this way, putting her in danger. Pulling that arm back, sending it across the basketball, and catching a forearm shiver to the ear of Caitlin Clark legitimately puts her in danger.
Remember, I said from the beginning, I'm not sure she makes it through the entire season. She gets a few more hits like that, she might not.
As Razor Ramon once famously said, where I come from, it's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you get up.
Say hello to the bad guy.
And Caitlin Clark keeps getting right back up. But that's not what got me. It wasn't the foul. It wasn't the hammer fist on Caitlin Clark. It was none of that. What got me was after, in the post-game presser. I'm going to play the audio for you. This is from our friends at ESPN. Here's what Angel Reese had to say when asked about the foul and the incident.
It's a basketball play. I can't control the refs. They affected the game, obviously, a lot tonight. So, I'm always going for the ball, but y'all going to play that clip, 20 times before Monday? So, it's cool. I think we went up really strong a lot of times, and we didn't get a lot of calls. And going back at looking at the film, I've seen a lot of calls that weren't made. I guess some people got a special whistle, but just being able to play hard as best as we can. I'm still proud of Camilla going on, still getting a double-double. And that's something y'all not going to be able to stop, regardless of the referees. Like, we're here for a while. We're not going to be denied, it's no matter what you guys can try to do. But our goal is to win, and we're going to do whatever it takes to win and continue to do that.
Lonzo, it's all your fault, bud. It's all you. It's all me. It's all the refs. It's all the media. It's all the fans. It's everybody else's fault.
Yeah, you're including me in with the media thing.
Yep. You are media, bud.
Gotcha.
You don't have to love it, but you are.
Wow. I mean, can you get fined multiple times in the same thing? For do they consider this one offense towards the refs, or is it each time she hit at the refs?
They'll hit her with one if they hit her at all. And again, I don't know, and this is part of I will acknowledge
if you want to say this is a league and a big time league, fines need to be levied.
I will acknowledge that one of the interesting things about all of this for me is that despite the fact that I have followed not as closely as I am now, I don't think any of us are, but despite the fact that I have followed the WNBA for years, I have followed them in a way that, frankly, I kind of tune out after scores, right? Like I have never really dived into press conferences and fines and thises and that's and the others, and I think now we're starting to. So I don't know how that plays out. What I do know is this. What I do know is that it was a pretty egregious foul. Even if it was a genuine, legitimate foul, it was still a pretty egregious foul ultimately. And yes, there are going to be conversations that need to be had about it. But Angel grabbing the mic and blaming the referees. Oh, they weren't giving us our calls. It was a basketball play. It's the media. Y'all are going to show that clip 20 times before Monday. Y'all are going to
no idea how that works. 20 times? Really? Is that it?
Yeah, they showed it 20 times in game, Angel. They showed that game. They showed that clip 20 times before that game was over, homie. And they are going to, for the record, now they're going to show it 200 times, and they're going to attach it to your little rant there. I like Angel Reese, and I think Angel Reese is good for the game because, as we have said about Jim Harbaugh and Bill Belichick and a million other dude athletes, sports needs bad guys. Sports needs good guys, and it needs bad guys. And Angel Reese is making herself out to be the bad guy, but that line about some people get a special whistle, Angel, you damn near punched her in the ear, ma'am. I mean, you damn near. If that was a move in pro wrestling, the referee would have called a timeout to stop the match. Like, you can't. I'll tell you this, though. Here we are talking about it. Here we are talking about it. And all of the sudden, great one, June 23rd at 4 p.m., Chicago Sky hosting the Indiana Fever. Can I get you to tune in now? I bet the answer is yes for at least some of you. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. We'll talk some basketball on the Fan Upstate. Tennessee has a 33 and a third chance of winning. But if you add in North Carolina State, Steiner Math's never not going to be funny to anybody who saw Steiner Math. All right, guys, give me 45 seconds. I will be right back.
From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan. French sculptor Frederic Auguste Bartholdi, who modeled it after
Frederic.
Received help from engineer Gustave Eiffel, who went on to build a pretty famous tower. Hardly the well-put-together lady that we know today, she arrived in 350 individual pieces in 200 massive cases. A giant pile of iron and copper. Pedestal still being constructed upon.
I'm having to stay off social media largely today because the fiance asked to watch House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 1 tonight. And I am just remembering that I also have the NBA Finals and I also have Raw. So it is going to be a challenging night in the Casa de Love.
I'm sure you got this.
I do. I'll watch it with her when she gets home. We'll watch it at like 6. That'll put it over about 7. Actually, I'll probably watch it closer to 7. That way I can roll it over right into NBA. Is that game tip at 8 or 8:30 tonight?
8:30.
Okay.
Which means like 8:40.
Yeah.
For the ones who get it done.
From the Eagles Market Studio.
No, and I'm not sure which side I would pick, Stephen.
I'm not going to hang on this, but I want to read and address something Keegan just said because I think he kind of stepped on the gas on this in the direction we were already going. Angel Reese, quote from Keegan, Angel Reese can't be the bad guy and the victim. Correct to the fans. Correct to the fans, Keegan. For sure, I would agree with that to the fans. But how many of the greatest bad guys are the bad guys because they pretend to be the victim when they aren't, right? Like that is one of the classic bad guy tropes. One of the classic bad guy tropes is to make yourself out to be a victim when you definitely are not. And playing that role well makes you a bad guy to the fans. It works more when there actually is some merit to the argument, right? Like, how many times have I said, you know, with my favorite bad guys in movies and television and whatever is, it's the guys about whom the Big Lebowski would say,
"You're not wrong. You're just an."
That's it, right? Thanos from the MCU. Thanos wasn't wrong. Thanos wasn't wrong. We are living on the verge of unsustainability. We are on the verge of unsustainable housing. We are on the verge of unsustainable food. We are on the verge of unsustainable resources. However, the solution's not genocide. Thanos, right? Like, that's what made him the bad guy. It was not the issue that he had. It was the solution that was proposed. The best bad guys in wrestling are the guys who have a point, but the way that they go about trying to make that point good is not good. That's a very eloquent way of saying that. I'm very good at this.
It was beautiful.
Thank you. Poetic.
I might, grab that and put some inspirational music behind it.
Put it on the t-shirt. So, to me, Angel Reese believes she is the victim. The majority, not exclusively, but the majority of fans believe that she is not, and that's the disconnect that turns her into the bad guy. Keegan said she wants to be Dennis Rodman, but she's going to end up being Draymond Green. Draymond Green doesn't understand that's why we don't like him. It's not just because you're out there stomping mud holes through guys' chest who are on the ground. That's not why we don't like you. It's the fact that you do that and then you come up and you go, "Oh, I was falling down. That's the only way I could stop myself from making it work." Okay, bro. It's not the fact that you're throwing back spinning hammer fist into dudes' faces. It's the fact that you legitimately grab a microphone the next day and you go, "I was trying to make a play on the ball. The ball was moving. I was trying to move with it." No, you weren't, my dude. You were trying to shatter a nose, man. You were trying to break that guy's beak. We know what you were doing. We're not dumb. We can all see it, guy. That is a wonderful way to make yourself the bad guy. What Angel Reese wants to happen is she wants all of us to see her as the victim. She wants all of us to see her as someone who is getting screwed by the love affair that this country has developed over the last year and a half with Caitlin Clark. And the answer is it's not going to work. You want to know what the best way, and again, I know this is super simplistic. Do you know what the best way to put somebody in the rearview mirror is? You know what the best way to get everybody to stop talking about or acknowledging or whatevering somebody else? Beat them. That's how you do it. Angel Reese is, and this is true, I went back and checked the statistics. Lonzo, she's 0-2 against Caitlin Clark. They have played twice. She has lost
So
twice.
this is in the WNBA. This is not in college.
Correct.
Okay.
Because in college, obviously, we're never gonna forget the ring point, right? When she dropped that on Caitlin Clark after taking the natty away from Caitlin Clark. But, and this is something that I think a lot of people are learning over the last couple of years, courtesy of some conversations going on around the world of college athletics. People at the next level don't care about your college affiliation. Pro sports fans do not care about your college affiliation. Lonzo, if a Buckeye goes over and plays for the Broncos, Lonzo's not going to wear that guy's T-shirt.
I still hate the Broncos, so yeah. It's,
exactly. If a Wolverine was to come in and quarterback the Chiefs to a Super Bowl, Lonzo's not going to not celebrate that natty. He might not buy that specific guy's jersey, but he's not going to not celebrate that Lombardi.
Use this example many times, and it's painful. Every time I had to root for Elvis Gerback.
Elvis Gerback.
Yes.
Exactly. We don't care. What you did in college is now irrelevant. Now what's relevant is the Chicago Sky versus the Indiana Fever. Chicago not only has fewer wins than the Fever do now, but of the losses and of the 5 wins that Caitlin Clark has, 40% of them come over Angel Reese and her basketball team. So, again, June 23rd is the next matchup between these two teams, and that foul's going to get shown a lot of times the week leading up to that 4 p.m. tip. You want everybody else to forget about Caitlin Clark? You want everybody else to stop paying attention to Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese? I have a solution for you. It's not go Draymond Green on the side of her head. The solution is play better, win basketball games.
There's also the thing of coming at the refs multiple times. So you think you're going to get right down the middle calls next game you're in? I don't know. I mean, maybe you will. Maybe you absolutely will get right down the middle calls, and that's going to get you a lot more fouls than you've been getting.
I watched about 3/4 of that game, off and on. Had it on one of the small screens. Because I was watching college baseball too. I watched a chunk of that game. I didn't have a problem with the officiating. And I will absolutely acknowledge when officiating is an impact on the game. In fact, it's one of my favorite things to do. I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think Angel Reese was getting unnecessary calls against her. I didn't think Caitlin Clark was getting a ton of extra calls in her favor. There were 1 or 2. I was like, maybe that's a superstar call, but not that many. You want Angel, if you want to get rid of the Caitlin Clark stuff, beat her. And for the record, it's not just Angel Reese. It's every player in the WNBA. It's every player in that organization. If you are tired of the Angel Reese, of the Caitlin Clark stuff, if you are tired of the Caitlin Clark stuff and you want it to go away, there's a super simple way to make that happen. Make her lose so often that we don't care anymore, right? Make her lose so often that we don't pay attention. You want the example of that? I'll give you an example from the men's game to prove that that's how it works. Michael Jordan left the Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan came back to the NBA, and he played for the Washington Wizards / Bullets / whatever they were at the time. And When Mike came back to the NBA to play for Washington, he did so with much fanfare. I remember it. People were geeked to see 23 back in the show, right? And then he went and he played for a bad basketball team. And that basketball team was okay with Michael Jordan at the helm. Like okay with Michael Jordan at the helm. And then he just kind of faded off into oblivion, right? I was in high school when Mike Jordan was playing with the Wiz. And they were putting like 20 plus thousand people into that arena when Michael Jordan was playing there. Nobody cared. Why didn't they care? Because they weren't that good. They just weren't that good. People would start to tune in when there was a record at stake, or there was a highlight at stake, or when there was in his last year when the Wiz played at the Bulls, which would go on to be Jordan's last game in Chicago, yada, yada, yada. Outside of that, nobody cared. The game is real simple, and I will send that message to every young lady in the WNBA who's not Caitlin Clark. If you are in this camp of women who is upset or aggravated or whatever that Caitlin Clark is the feature, the crown jewel, she's the one getting all the conversation, she's the one getting all the highlights. They announced the Olympic roster a week and a half ago, and here we are a week and a half later. I broke down what that roster looks like and what I like and don't like about it, but the overwhelming majority of the conversation has been what? Caitlin Clark's not on the roster. Caitlin Clark's not on the team. Caitlin Clark. And again, I am absolutely on team Caitlin Clark should be going to Paris. Absolutely, she should be. Okay? But if you want to erase all of that, if you want Caitlin Clark to be treated like another WNBA player, even though most of us think it would be to the detriment of that league. Anybody disagree? Does anybody think if Caitlin Clark was relegated to the afterthoughts of this league, does anybody think the league would be better off for it? No. We all know it. We all get it. She's generated more conversation about this league than anybody since what? Candace Parker?
Maybe ever.
Legitimately, probably ever, if we're keeping it a buck. She has generated more interest and conversation about this league than, if we are keeping it a buck, anybody ever has. So it would be bad for the league. But if you want Caitlin Clark to not dominate the conversation, if you want Caitlin Clark to not be the center of attention, there's a very easy way to do it. Beat her basketball team, beat her so often that even Caitlin Clark fans don't want to tune in. And when I say beat her, I mean on the scoreboard, not physically, Angel. When I say beat her, I mean beat her 84-78, not into a triage unit. Because if you keep busting her up like you're doing, all you're doing is creating a world where she is earning more and more and more and more sympathy. And folks are going to keep coming out to watch her play. But if the Fever end the year 5-27 and not in the playoffs and Caitlin Clark's not there, now, hopefully, some of those fans that tuned in for Caitlin Clark will ultimately end up enjoying the league and will stick around, and Caitlin Clark becomes the afterthought, not you. But this kind of crap and these complaints and this press conference is not it, Chief. It's not it at all. You're not going to win anybody over by coming out and claiming after you punched Caitlin Clark in the side of the head. And like I said, for the sake of the discussion, I am even willing to accept that it was a basketball play gone wrong.
I'm not. There's a windup.
For the record, I'm not saying that is what happened. I'm saying for the sake of the discussion, I'm willing to accept that that's what happened to benefit Angel Reese. To benefit Angel Reese, let's say that would happen. That's what happened. I need you to know it doesn't matter. It still generated the sympathy. It still generated the discussion. It still generated a world where when you guys get together on the 23rd, it is likely going to be one of the most watched WNBA games of the year. And no one's going to be pulling for Chicago that wasn't already a Chicago fan. That's what you're doing here. You're giving her more of what you hate, not less of it when you do stuff like that. All right, well, there's another one of those. I'm not going to do a whole segment on it. Here's a segment on it. Things coming up in the next hour. We got Andrew Lord at 8:20, leaving the Greenville Swamp Rabbits to head up to Canada to coach hockey. We got at 8:40 John Blau of the Post and Courier, and right now we have got I wanted to put more spice on it than that. That was bad. Lonzo with a sports flash. Do better, Rob.
When you get older, you put too much spice on it. Yeah, like stomach problems. So thank you. The 124th U.S. Open at Pinehurst #2 in North Carolina was claimed by LIV Tour golfer Bryson, also known as Byron, and Brian DeChambeau. It's a joke. I'll tell you later. After a dramatic final day, DeChambeau started the day with a 3-stroke lead, but Irishman Rory McIlroy closed the gap to 1. DeChambeau scrambled for a number of pars, but McIlroy bogeyed 3 of his final 4 to fall by 1 stroke. The win is DeChambeau's second U.S. Open win. Dodgers superstar shortstop Mookie Betts will miss significant time with a broken hand after being hit by a 98-mile-per-hour fastball in a 3-0 win over the Royals yesterday. Man, ass hurt. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for a brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on all the latest local and national sports, and it's all Wire to Wire. Regression is ugly. I am just regressing.
Summer as much as you want because of your joint pain. This is the best time for being outdoors, but not if your knees, shoulders, back, or hips are hurting. Hey, it's Charlie James. Don't suffer any longer. Non-surgical joint pain relief is here at QC Kinetics. Give them a call today. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue so you can walk and run and hike and play golf and move again pain-free. QC Kinetics is under the leadership of former orthopedic surgeon Dr. Mitchell Scheinka, a true pioneer in regenerative medicine. Their advanced protocols have enabled tens of thousands of patients to reclaim their mobility. So stop putting it off. Take action now. Live your best life again. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. They're at 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772 in Greenville and Asheville. 864.
I know, Steven, I'm disappointed in me, but you know. I need to rewrite the stories better. It's laziness. That's what it is.
So I walked down to the water cooler to get some fresh cold water. And as I'm standing there, the water cooler is right next to, for the folks on the stream, the water cooler is right next to the studio in which Banana Pooper broadcast. And I heard Banana Pooper giving grief to his co-host, his co-part, for having the audacity of using his laptop while on the toilet. And he's like, who uses a laptop on the toilet, you weirdo? And it was everything I had not to throw open the door to an on-the-air radio program and go, you had a banana on the floor, and I have to assume you ate it afterwards, my man. Maybe not that, pal. Maybe let's not judge that, bud. Because of the two things than I would judge someone for doing while on the pooper, working on their laptop versus eating a banana. One of those two things is the worst thing.
So I am curious about where you're balancing the laptop, but I just
on your lap.
Yeah,
it's gonna get warm after a little while.
Maybe they had a laptop table just handy in there.
Maybe.
And you just bring that thing around while you're doing your business, and
Or did you not do everything you could do to create advantage? Look, sometimes you're going to lose.
Go ahead, Steven, text them. You don't even need to text all the stations. You already know who it is.
I was thinking about, I do have the kind of laptop table that I could bring in there if I wanted to, and then just let things go.
Food tray?
You just go, I don't need food.
I didn't say food on it, clearly.
No, I have an actual laptop desk thingy. It's a fold-up thing that you can just bring in. It will angle, one of those.
I would be lying to you, tell you, I haven't used a laptop while pooping before because it's like, I got 20 minutes. I might as well use it for productivity.
If you go in there and you force things, you could hurt your colon. You don't want to do that. Or, other parts.
I mean, I use my cell phone, what's the difference?
Which is basically a computer. You know what you're not using, though?
A banana!
A banana.
For God's sake.
That's right. You're not using a banana.
Yeah! There it is. Hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Radio program goes now. I did have a short run-in with getting the whole guy this weekend. On Saturday, your boy took a trip up to Pinehurst, his first ever PGA Tour event, to go watch the U.S. Open, the 124th edition at Pinehurst number 2. I have a lot of takeaways from it. I'll talk more about them as the show progresses. But I know which one you degenerates are gunning for. And that is, did you have a run-in with Get in the Hole guy? And the answer is, yes, I did. I did have a run-in with Get in the Hole guy. I had a run-in with Get in the Hole guy.
I want to hear what you consider a run-in with. Because I'm thinking you just glared at him.
No, I decided to be passive-aggressive. So we walked, we got there, we were the first one in. We were the first guys in, and we hit the merch stand first so that we could have the full selection, which is how I ended up with this lovely, what would you say, turquoise polo?
Let's go with turquoise. I think I had something like that in the 3rd grade.
Aquamarine.
It's the kind of stuff my mom dressed me in on occasion. I got beat up for it. Yeah.
Well, we're not in the land of desk being thrown by teachers. No bullies around here.
Kids are mean. That color wouldn't have worked well on my playground.
I didn't grow up on the same streets as Lonzo did. So we hit the merch stand.
You might be missing an eye or something.
Hit the merch stand, walked the back 9 over to 1, caught up with Brooks Koepka and Francesco Molinari as they teed off and got their day underway. On the first hole, everything was fine. We followed them up. Now, I will also say that the strategy we had for following Brooks and Francesco Molinari was that we stayed a shot ahead of them. So when they hit a drive, we'd be midway about where those drives were anticipated to land. When those drives landed, we would go ahead and bounce up because, again, we were there early. We were one of the first people walking the course with the golfers. When that shot would land, we walk up to the green to watch the approach and the putt. When they were finishing up their putting, we would go ahead and walk to the midway point of the next hole. So we'd be ahead of the crowd to get up on the rope. We got to the third hole of the tournament, third hole of the course. We are, I'm going to say, 280 yards into a 400 and whatever it is yard par 4. The point here is there's not a golfer on planet Earth that is driving the green. And for those of you that don't know golf all that well, the green is where the hole is.
I beg to differ, shooter. Happy Gilmore hit that just this morning.
It hit off of Frankenstein's fat foot. The green is where the hole is. So when a guy drives the ball to a green that is 400 plus yards away, and that becomes a hole that is not on in one, even for a big bomber like a Bryson DeChambeau. We're standing there, 270 yards, 280 yards down a par 4 that is undrivable. Brooks Koepka hits his tee shot. I want you to keep in mind, Lonzo, we are almost 3 football fields away from Brooks Koepka, and therefore the cameras and the microphones, which these dorks are trying so hard to get on. Brooksy hits his drive, and wouldn't you know it, there's a character about 2 rows away from, about two guys down from me, who yells, "Get in the hole!" Guy, no. All right? So
what's the difference between that guy and the guy in the wrestling arena who's tries to start a chant?
The sport that you are at. Wrestling versus golf. And you know me, I'm not big tradition guy. Traditions are peer pressure from dead people, okay? But there is an etiquette to golf that even my iconoclastic behind will follow.
Did you tell him to go back to a shanty?
No. What I did was go, we're still 200 yards from the hole, dude. And there were a couple of snickers and laughs from the folks around me that very obviously are also all very tired of getting the whole guy. And this was my first hole standing next to this clown. So at this point, I had to come to the realization he's done this all 3 holes so far. He's done it all 3 holes. This guy is not yelling, "Get in the hole," because he thinks it's got a chance to, get in the hole. He's yelling this because he wants the attention. That's it. That's all.
I'm just curious because it seems like this guy probably was having a good time, and his good time is not your good time, so therefore his good time is wrong. Because that's what it sounds like. You're wearing a hat that says you're open for discussion, so I thought maybe we could talk.
That's absolutely fine. Absolutely fair. Great one. Let me ask you this question. You and your La Familia, you go out for a good time. You go out and you go get yourself some Texas Roadhouse, all right? And you know what you're getting into when you go to the Roadhouse. You're getting a good steak. It's going to be louder than your average steakhouse, right? And you and your family sit down at the steakhouse, and you're sat at a table that is borderline over towards the bar. And you hear a guy at the bar just start yelling, and maybe, and you, and that dirty. Are you going to sit there and go, well, his good time's just different than my good time? I got to be cool with it because he's having a good time and he just has a good time different than I have a good time.
Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, hey, Rob, would you keep it down?
You, like so many others, are going to do one of two things. You're going to call Mr. Manager over and you're going to go, hey, the guy's over there interrupting our good time because his good time is taking precedent. Can you ask him to stop or we're leaving? Or you, like the overwhelming majority of, and I will include and absolutely say us in this, ain't going to do a damn thing. You're going to sit there, you're going to let the man have his time, and you hope he leaves, right?
No, at my table, I have other people who will take care of that. So, because they will not stand for that. But there's a difference, though. I mean, that guy shouting obscenities, getting in the hole is not an obscenity.
First off, words
maybe in some settings it could be, but in the golf setting, it's not.
Words are only obscenities if you allow them to be. Getting a hole guy, absolutely an obscenity.
Well,
that ball's not going in the hole, my man.
You could say that on the radio, so it's not an obscenity.
I mean, that's fair, but that's me having to play by other people's rules, not me playing with theirs. By the way, it was the fourth hole, not the third. I lied to you. It was hole number 4.
Wow, I can't even get your story.
Yeah, which is a 529 yard par 4.
Is there a listener out there who would volunteer to just come in here and set, and every once in a while just yell, "Get in the hole"?
No,
because there's a seat right over there. You could just sit over there and just every once in a while.
You are bumping up on the.
You give me the nod. I'll turn the mic on so we can all hear it.
You are bumping up on the 1 to 3 times a year that Rob Brown will go, "It is my show." No, that's not happening.
It's always your show, but I have control of the microphones.
Go ahead, let a get in the whole guy up in this building and see what happens. So, yada, yada, yada. The point was, I went, dude, he's still 200 yards away. Had a couple of snickers from people that I realized have been putting up with this guy for 4 holes of a golf course now 5. And he looks at me and he goes, "I'm just trying to have fun, man." Don't.
So you mean to tell me you actually had a conversation with this guy?
No, I ended the conversation right there. He said, "I'm just trying to have a good time, man." And I just went, "Don't." And then I walked away because much like the guy at the bar would have said, I'm not about to fist fight this man on the 5th hole of the U.S. Open.
Hey, man, don't. And then he walked away.
Listen, I don't have an issue with I don't care what you wear to the U.S. Open. All right, we were looking around and there were people from every stripe of life. There were dudes in t-shirts, jeans, and work boots. There were dudes in Hawaiian shirts. There were dudes in just about everything you could imagine that had sleeves on it. Okay, I don't care what you wear. I don't care if you're one of the guys that's sitting in the 11th grandstand and you're pounding a beer. Hey, anytime anybody gets green in regulation, we shotgun a beer. Cool. Sounds awesome. Have a ball. Have a great time. I'm all in for that. What I don't get down with is when, for the sake of you getting attention, you're just screaming needlessly in people's ears. And that's from somebody who screams needlessly in people's ears all the time. But if I'm doing it and you're hearing it, it's by choice. You have elected for that to happen. I didn't elect to stand next to a dork in dumb sunglasses yelling, "Get in the hole," at a guy who was, after a lengthy drive, still going to be 200 yards away from the green.
So you almost went Angel Reese on this guy.
Yeah, except in this case, I was right.
Okay. All right. So I don't get why you're so offended by it. I really don't.
It's not offended. It's aggravated.
No, you look.
It's
offended.
Annoyed.
Well, I think if you're offended, you're aggravated. I don't think you can not be. I don't think you can be offended without being aggravated.
I'm not going down the rabbit hole of the semantics games here. That guy sucks and he's annoying.
Why not? It's Monday.
Okay. That guy sucks and he's annoying. Nobody wants to listen to you yell, "Get in the hole," over and over. And here's the thing. And Joe brought this point up after all this happened. He said, you know what the worst part about these guys is? They all think they're the funniest guy in the room. They think it's hilarious. They scream, "Get in the hole," and they think everybody else in the course is like, "Oh, it's very obvious he can't get in the hole." How hysterical.
Wait, that's how everyone talks at golf tournaments anyway.
It's
right?
really not. It's really not. There were frat boys in the 11th that were singing soccer chants to the European golfers. I love them.
Right,
I want to hang out with
frat
them.
boys is still upper level as far as economics
You
goes.
were a frat boy, pal.
Yeah, at a rich school too, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so what you dig?
It took me 10 years to pay off 1 year of going to that school. So
there were frat guys singing soccer chants to the Euros as they came by. There were Irish guys singing love songs to Rory when he came by.
all right, and none of that
amazing.
annoyed you.
No.
None of that. So someone in the crowd was not annoyed by that.
Oh, I don't care if
There
anyone
wasn't
else
someone
was
there going,
annoyed.
man, we're in America. Why are you singing Irish?
No, there was a lot. And for the record, when those guys were singing their chants to the Euro fellas, Bryson came by and everybody else in the crowd started hitting them back with a USA, USA, USA chant because the Americans are dominating the majors right now.
So in that wall of sound that you're talking about, the one guy who says something that you don't like and he's the bad guy.
No, it is not in the wall of sound. Where these things were happening, we're in grandstands where there are gatherings around bars, and that's kind of part of the atmosphere. When I am standing out on the 5th hole, which is part of the course that is kind of away from everything else, and I'm on a fairway screaming, get in the hole, when a shot very clearly is not. I didn't even really get mad when guys were screaming, get in the hole on approach shots and chips and wedges around the green. All right,
Come on. You were annoyed by those guys too.
At least those golf balls have a chance of, again, getting in the hole. But when you're doing it, a guy you know is still got a 5-iron into the green, shut up, dude.
So
yell
should he have
something
said,
funny.
Get in the hole eventually? I mean, would it have been okay if he yelled that?
Listen, I appreciate your white knighting get in the hole guy.
Yeah,
I appreciate you coming to the aid of the most obnoxious person on the golf course.
He can't defend himself, so I mean, I am the public defender, I suppose.
You will notice that as many times as we have had
annoyed to me, I'm just saying.
Oh, I'm absolutely annoyed. As many times as we have had conversations about get in the hole guy, you will notice never once has anybody ever called this station and gone, Rob, I'm getting the hole guy. Never. We have conversations about people who don't want kids. We get those texts. We have conversations about people who do the 999 challenge at a baseball game and get wasted. We have people text the show, call the show. We have conversations about this guy, and somebody calls the show and goes, Rob, I'm that guy. Inevitably. We have, in the years, I have said that screaming the words, get in the hole, should get you banned from a golf course. Never once had anybody call or text the show and say, Rob, I'm get in the hole guy, and I'm proud of it.
Well, here's what I don't get. So even before you went, you were saying, if get in the hole guy, so you knew this guy was going to ruin your day.
He's at every tournament.
And you knew it was going to, so why'd you go? So why'd you go?
Because
you knew this guy was going to do this. You just said he's at every tournament. That means your joy's going to be sucked from you. Get in the hole guy.
I'm not going to let people take enjoyment. I'm not going to not do things I love because of one that is going to be there. It's not going to happen. All right? It's not. You
let that guy ruin your moment. You let that guy get in your head when he was just there to have a good time also, and his good time was not what you consider a good time.
Tell you what, my good time is going to be going to the Red Lobster and screaming the F word over everybody. Are we good with that?
Are we good with that? You're back to the obscenity things. That's not an apt comparison.
Sure.
I mean, if you just go there and start yelling that Cheddar Bay biscuits suck. Now that's
I would never, because that's wrong.
Well, I mean, but if you want to be as
you know what I'm doing? I'm going to go to the Red Lobster and I'm going to start yelling, fresh seafood is better than this frozen crap. Stop eating here. Go get real seafood. And let's see if everybody goes, hey, guys, just having a good time.
Sounds like a lot to say, and it's not as catchy as get in the hole.
Get in the hole, guy? Stop. Just stop. Literally no one likes you. When we come back, Andrew Lord, soon to be former head coach of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, will join us to talk a little hockey. That's coming up next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, live read, and then we're back with Andrew Lord. Stay right there for me. Rob Brown Show on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob and the great one Lonzo here on a lovely Upstate Monday morning. Joining us now on the phone lines is the soon-to-be former head coach of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits and soon-to-be head coach and general manager of the Halifax Mooseheads, longtime friend of the show on and off the air, Andrew Lord joins us here on the show. Lordo, what's up, big fella?
Hey, pal. Yeah, quite a bit actually. It's been busy, but great to be on the show again here, and be good to chat for a little bit.
Yeah, man, great to have you, bud. First off, congratulations, brother. It seems like a real big step in the career of Andrew Lord. One I know the folks in Greenville, much like the folks over in the UK did when you came over this way. We'll be watching intently with an intention moving forward, man. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's great opportunity. Personally, incredibly hard decision to leave. Obviously, we all know how much I love Greenville and our ownership and our fans and our players. So it was a really tough last week, but I think it's a fortunate opportunity for me. I got to run with it at this stage of my career. I also think the team's in great shape, so I really feel good about kind of where we're leaving it, and I think this upcoming season is going to be really exciting for the team overall.
And I want to talk a little bit about what this opportunity is for you up in the Halifax area, up with in the Quebec Maritimes Junior Hockey League, and to kind of put that in perspective. But obviously, I think we need to lead off with just kind of what this area has meant to you, what the stop in the career here in Greenville meant for the development of Andrew Lord, and how it's played a role in your career.
Yeah, it's been everything, to be honest. I was so fortunate. Todd Mack and Inspire Sports Entertainment took a shot at me, a little known coach from the UK, and to get over here and to have 4 successful years was truly amazing. And there's just been so many great memories and, good seasons, and just proud of the culture and everything we've been able to kind of to build here under the new ownership. And again, I think, feel like we're leaving it in a better place than we found it, which I'm really proud of. And just going to think back on so many good nights at the Well and the awesome fan base and a lot of good wins. And yeah, just so many memories, hard to put into words in a short amount of time here.
Andrew Lord, soon to be former head coach of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, here on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Lord, one of the things that I have made reference to many times about the Swamp Rabbits, but really all of our local pro teams in the area, is how involved they are in the community. It makes it so much easier to be a fan when you go downtown to a music fest and there are the bits, or any given Saturday you go up to a local brew and watch an NHL game and there's half the team sitting there hanging out with the folks of Greenville. How big has that been for you to be a member of a community that really does love its sports? And what impact did that have during your time here?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, first, it's just fun, but I think it's just so meaningful to be part of a community like this. Overall, just absolutely love it. There's a real buzz around town, and I know our off-ice staff has worked incredibly hard in the 4 years to build up the reputation and the brand, and to get out and reach out to the community, whether it's in schools or whatnot. And then I think our players have really bought in year on year. And I know with how many returning guys that we've been able to retain kind of, each season, I think that's helped with the culture and the buy-in to that. And I know the guys really feel vested in the community and really part of it. So, obviously the wins and losses are big in pro sports, but I think at the minor league level, it goes far beyond that. And I really feel proud of the work we've done there.
What stands out to you about Greenville? I mean, obviously you came over from Cardiff, you come here, you've familiarized yourself obviously with the league you play in. What is it that has made Greenville a special place?
Yeah, I mean, first off, the only reason I'm leaving is to try to make the NHL. But if I wasn't a coach, I would stay here forever. To be totally honest, it's awesome. I mean, what a city! The development's going on right now. The amount it's grown, and even in the last 4 years. Obviously, the weather, just how friendly the people are in the upstate. I love it. I love getting down to Main Street, just, mixing it up and being around and meeting people. And obviously all the minor league sports teams are great too. And, my baby boy was born here too. So he's a Greenvillian through and through. And, he will always have ties to this area. So it's meant the world to me.
Andrew Lord departing the Greenville Swamp Rabbits to head up to Canada to join the Quebec Maritimes Junior Hockey League. If I had to put you on the spot, Lordo, and say 10, 15 years, we're watching Andrew Lord coaching the Kings at the NHL level or whoever it's going to end up being. If I was to pop up randomly and say, Lordo, you were back in Greenville, what's the best memory you have of that area? What's that answer going to be?
Oh, man, it's a tough one. I don't know. I think back to, the first year was during COVID, so it was a little bit of a funny one. But, I just think some of the wins down the stretch, whether it's, a couple years ago when we kind of fought our way back from the abyss to make the playoffs. We had an incredible run the second half after Christmas there. Maybe winning the South Division this year. But I don't know. I don't think it's even one specific thing. I think it's just all of it mixed together. It's even just walking into the rink and, seeing the security guys or other people that work here, seeing our guys come in and be fired up for practice. There's just so many great little memories that really, makes it all encompassing, and just been an incredible 4 years here overall.
When you hit that spot, and there's zero doubt for me that you will, what are you going to credit to Greenville? Like, what are you going to take away from this in your development as a coach, trying to move up to the next and ultimately to that tip-top level? What about your time here in Greenville do you think is going to be the most impactful?
I appreciate the vote of confidence there, issued by agent, but honestly, it just, the amount of responsibility they gave to me, I was just so lucky. I mean, it's a really Aspire approach and a belief, and from Todd Mack and to our new president here, Tim Vieira, like, they just really allowed me to get on with my work and, make mistakes and grow every day. And the amount of different hats I was able to wear, even extended over to the business side, will really just see how, the whole operation works. I've learned a tremendous amount about managing people and, really having my finger on the pulse in a lot of different things. So yeah, it's been incredible. And I really have just so thankful for this opportunity.
Andrew Lord here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Talk to me a little bit about what the Quebec Maritimes Junior Hockey League. I mean, I have to apologize, even with my vast wealth of sports knowledge, not super familiar with the Quebec Maritimes Junior Hockey League. So how does this help Andrew Lord on his quest to make it to the show?
Yeah, it's if you're up in Canada, you certainly have a better feel for it. No, I mean, it's a top 5 CHL, which is the Canadian Hockey League junior program. Basically, there's 3 leagues that make that up, and the Q, as they call it, this particular league is one of the 3 in that CHL. But basically, the idea is to work with the young athlete, the 16 to 20-year-old, and really help them develop alongside, being a little bit of a mini NHL setup. There's 2 GMs that I have to report to. There's a scouting staff. There's quite a big coaching staff, multiple assistants, skills coach, goalie coach, on and on and on. So really testing myself at kind of a mirror image of what the NHL would be. And really, it's just going to challenge a lot of my skill sets, and I'm going to have to improve in a lot of areas. So really, it's just a great opportunity to learn and to push myself to hopefully become a better coach overall.
We are looking, I spent some time looking at this a little bit last night, Lordo, once we got you booked in here. This is a league that produced Mario Lemieux. It produced Guy Lafleur. It produced Pat LaFontaine. It produced Martin Brodeur, Patrick Roy. This league has a freaking foundation of players that left it to go on and make history. So I think the impactful thing is this is a real breeding ground for great hockey players that you're going to get to go up there and start to leave an impact on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Halifax's claim to fame is Nathan McKinnon. So they had him. They won a Memorial Cup, which is their championship there in the CHL. And, if I'm able to hopefully help produce some players that, maybe they're not quite to that level, but a few players that can really pop and get drafted in the high rounds and go on to have good NHL careers, that's obviously selfishly going to bring some notoriety and show my ability. So that's kind of the name of the game here, and a lot of work ahead, but excited about it as well.
All right, Lordo, last one, and then we'll let you get off and get on to work because I know there's a lot going on as you transition up to Canada. Just kind of open mic, man. Anything you want to say, anything you'd like to talk to the folks at Greenville about before you get up out of here?
Yeah, just thank you. Honestly, it's been incredible. It's gone way too quick, and just really thankful, but also proud of what we've been able to achieve. And now it's fun for me. I get to be a fan and give everyone the gears a little bit, and I'm excited for it. I think this team's in such a great spot, from our leadership, Inspire, the ownership group, to our front office with Tim and everyone upstairs working, and then downstairs staff as well. And I already know there's going to be a number of returning players, so the core is intact. And I think maybe a new voice running things will be healthy as well. So I really think next year will be the best one yet. So
I love it.
Excited to follow as a fan.
I love it. Andrew Lord, former head coach of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. Lordo, my man, it has been a pleasure to work with you the last few years. It has been a joy to get to know you and watch you work both on and off the ice. And most importantly, I apologize for all the shouting during games when you're down there trying to coach, but I hope your next in-arena announcer is a little less obnoxious.
I would love to bring you with me, pal. But no, I appreciate all the support, and you've been incredible. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm sure
Lordo,
we'll meet up here soon.
Good luck in Canada, my man. We will be following with an interest, and don't be shocked if you get a text every now and then telling you got to come back on the radio in Greenville, South Carolina, brother.
Love it. Thanks so much.
You got it. Andrew Lord departing as the head coach of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, headed up to Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, to become the new head coach of the Mooseheads. And I'm going to be straight up with you. Great one. I got a new jersey to buy because it's a good-looking outfit that they rock up there in Halifax. Thanks to Andrew Lord for joining us here on the show. When we come back, John Blau of the Post and Courier talks Clemson athletics with us here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, one more live, and we're back with John Blau. Stay there. Thank you.
Not gonna be. I mean,
gonna make you a pin.
I would appreciate another pin because
I'm gonna bring you a selection.
So the last pin that I had was like one of those big pins. I used it for 2 years before it finally ran out of ink. And I'm gonna put it to work. So if you bring me a pin, it needs to be something with longevity, dependability, and I don't care what it looks like. It's just got to work.
I'm gonna bring you a selection of my good cheap pins.
Yeah, because you wouldn't bring me the expensive kind.
Correct. I wouldn't. For the record, I wouldn't bring anybody the expensive kind.
Wow, no one.
My expensive pens, my $200 pens, yeah, no.
Why in the world would you pay $200 for
I
a
did
pen?
not. My father did.
Okay, all right.
I just inherited them.
Okay, all right.
And those pens, I've told you before, those pens are my thank you note pens. They are my important letter pens. Those are my bring in to sign my contract pen, yada, yada, yada. Thank Mac. Mac jumped in on the live stream, said, been listening since before you changed time slots. Just logged into my YouTube at work. Glad to be able to comment on the great nonsense, all caps, that is the Rob Brown Show. Thank you, Mac. And we are glad to bring you nonsense for 4 hours every morning to get your week started.
Just don't be a get in the hole guy.
Don't be
if you are, then Rob just doesn't like you. He despises you.
Do not be getting the hole. Nobody likes get in the hole guy. All right. Some people unnecessarily and unjustifiably defend get in the hole guy. Nobody likes get in the hole guy.
Bought a ticket like you did. Well, actually, okay, he bought a ticket, and so I'm sure he had a good time. I'm just saying. I mean, until you ruined it by being confrontational.
I'll tell you.
I mean, you're a bully. That's what you are.
I'll tell you who I know would not defend get in the hole guy at a golf tournament. And that's our next guest. Hashtag segue. John Blau covers Clemson athletics for the Post and Courier. He joins us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate every Monday at 8:40 to talk Clemson athletics. John, what's up, big dog? Welcome back to the show, buddy.
Appreciate it. How you doing, Rob?
Real good, man. Real good. Recovering from a weekend at the U.S. Open golf tournament, but I get to sit in a chair and talk about football for 4 hours, so I can't complain, and nobody would care if I did, you know?
Sounds good.
All right, let's get into some stuff here. Let's start, John, with what new information we have about the lawsuit going between Florida State and the ACC, Clemson and the ACC, and the news we got last week that the only team that, aside from Clemson, that decided not to countersue Florida State was North Carolina. With the updates we've got in the last week, what are your thoughts on where this whole situation is playing out? I know you've got an article right now on postandcourier.com about the ACC objecting to Clemson speeding up their court case. There's a lot of moving targets to this, John. So what's just your overall thought on where we are?
Yeah, I mean, we're actually getting to the phase within the next, 2 or 3 weeks where we'll actually have some lawyers in court arguing some things. That's, I guess, a kind of a development, obviously. Going back to March when Clemson filed their complaint and then the ACC countersuit, it's just more kind of in volleys back and forth in terms of briefs and laying out their arguments and such things. But it's actually kind of starting to heat up a little bit in terms of, I think on July 2nd, there will be a hearing in North Carolina as to Clemson's motion to dismiss the ACC's countersuit in terms of just trying to say that the jurisdiction should fall to South Carolina. And obviously the ACC is trying to argue that no, the jurisdiction shall be in North Carolina, obviously trying to get home court, I guess, per se, each side. But obviously, in terms of the totality of it, we're a long way away from any kind of resolution. Obviously, if there's any kind of ruling that either judge makes, either side could appeal. These things then take months, kind of string things out, weeks, months. And so we're just kind of, I talked to law experts, I think about a month ago, and they were telling me this is just, still we're in the phase where everybody's kind of, the cards are getting dealt at the table. Everybody's looking at each other's hands. They're seeing who's got a strong side to eventually get to this ultimate conclusion of some kind of settlement. We're still kind of in the phase where cards are being dealt, and I guess hands will start getting played as we're in court starting in July.
Is there any sort of thought about what a potential outcome? I know with a lot of these, it's going to be months of arguing and folks trying to argue that this is precedent or this is not, and this jurisdiction and that. Is there any thought right now from folks on the legal side, John, or is there anything that we can look at in the past that you've discovered that might give us a clue as to what ultimately either of these lawsuits end up looking like when they are done?
Yeah, settlement. I think 100%. I would be, maybe not say 100%. I'd be 99.9% certain there's going to be some kind of settlement. People talk about who's going to win, who's going to lose the case, whose case is weaker, who's is stronger. I don't think winning is really part of the equation here. It's really either side deciding what is our risk tolerance, how much leverage do we have to kind of push onto the other side. At the end of the day, whoever feels like they has less leverage will come out and then maybe bend a little bit more to the other's will. So I mean, I really think it's it's $140 million apparently, and it's the exit penalty. There's the risk of not controlling your media rights, and how would that work? I've seen people say that the ACC might even continue paying Clemson even if they were in another conference, which I don't understand how that would work. But there's hundreds of millions of dollars here, and you want to see if you can get it. Clemson probably wants to get it to like 150 million total. Give us our rights. The ACC probably wants something, double that to try to compensate their members appropriately. But really, it's just sitting down some kind of settlement in terms of what number makes sense and makes each side feel happy. And then at the end of the day, both sides will move on. I think eventually Clemson will not be in this conference. I think in 2024 they absolutely will. Maybe even 2025. By 2026, Clemson's absolutely out. We'll see what other schools do as well.
And I've kind of fallen into the line of thought, John, that the day that Clemson and or FSU, and I would lean on the and there. I think if either one of them finds the out via lowering the exit fee or whatever other possibilities might even be out there, I'm not sure. The minute one and or both of those schools go, either the ACC joins the new All-State Geico 12 or whatever they're going to call themselves, and have a shot, or else that conference is pretty much done at this point, which leads me to the next thought, which is the ACC is going to fight tooth and nail with everything they have, because I think their existence is predicated on the involvement of FSU and Clemson, which means this thing could end up getting very ugly, as Clemson will survive no matter where they are. Same with Florida State. I don't think the opposite is true for the ACC.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of an interesting situation because the ACC, you actually look at their numbers, they have been able to increase revenues. I mean, they actually have been doing a better job of kind of pushing up that number. I think it was around 40 million, now more 45 million per year for schools. It's just that the SEC and Big Ten have taken such a huge jump above everybody in terms of, these 50, 60, maybe 70 million per year to each school types of payouts. And so there's kind of this fight for survival amongst the ACC and the Big 12 to see who's going to become kind of that like best of the rest conference. And I mean, and whoever loses, obviously if the ACC loses Clemson and Florida State, that's really damaging. North Carolina, like you said, has been one that's kind of been, on the fence in terms of what they might end up doing here. And so, it's a very existential problem for the ACC. And it really, honestly, it just feels like most of it's not really in their control. I mean, they're going to hold on as long as they can, but they're going to lose Florida State and Clemson at some point. The SEC is going to, or the Big Ten, or both, are going to decide at some point they want to add more schools. It hasn't happened yet. I don't know if the appetite's there right now, but if they can get more money from ESPN or Fox or CBS, their partners, you can absolutely see them adding more schools, and we get to eventually that, what Dabo Sweeney called the Ultra Super Megatron Conference or whatever it was, where there's, potentially just two leagues and they make up 50 schools. kind of an AFC and NFC. I mean, all this is possible. There's so many moving parts, but yeah, the ACC absolutely does not feel secure in its position right now. Because you're kind of fighting tooth and nail with the Big 12 to see who's going to kind of be the best of the rest to be able to salvage parts to be, important enough to survive. Because right now, obviously, the Big 10, the SEC have kind of taken that huge lead where they're absolutely going to survive, and everybody else is just fighting tooth and nail.
John Blau with the Post and Courier joins us every Monday at 8:40 to talk Clemson athletics. All right, left-hand turn. John, let's do a quick little 2-3 minute postmortem on Clemson baseball. Obviously bounced from the Super Regionals by the Florida Gators, who have traveled to Omaha. I did see your article where Eric Backage said about his ejection, sorry, not sorry. Is that, and I do not use the word attitude with any negative connotation, because frankly, I love it. I love the attitude. I love the fire. I love the climbing up the right field wall as a head coach. I love all of that. Now that we've seen a couple of seasons under the back of Eric Backage, now that we've seen that he has brought this team to the caliber of a super regional team, and frankly, I think probably should have beat Florida. That's another discussion. Is this kind of a direction? Can Clemson fans assume that there will be a continued uphill climb moving forward under Eric Backage? Is the firepower back next year to make a second run and maybe take it one step further?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be surprising if they didn't take a step, because obviously they took a huge step in his first year in terms of getting back to the tournament, which they had missed in back-to-back years. And this next year to get to a super regional after having that long line of flameouts in regional play. Obviously, again, like you said, Florida was a team they could have beaten. They didn't quite have the pitching and kind of made too many mistakes to be able to pull that out, but absolutely have the ability to get the College World Series. And they bring a lot back next year. I mean, you look, obviously, Cam Canarella is going to be one of the best, if not the best player in college baseball next year, potentially. You got Aiden Canuck, one of the best pitchers in college baseball, is going to be a sophomore instead of a freshman. You got up the middle in terms of Andrew Chufo, the super senior, the guy who was the hero of the South Carolina series, going to be back at shortstop. You got Jaron Purify, who seems like he could take a huge step in year two from freshman to sophomore year. You've got a lot coming back, and they've already started adding guys to the transfer portal. I mean, I saw Dominic Lispy, who's a guy actually started the D3 ranks, was at Indiana State last year, kind of proved that it could translate to Division I, hit 324 with a way over 400 on base percentage. That they're adding pieces via the transfer portal like they did last year with Overtop and Hinderleiter and Mathis. You should expect them to do the same. And so, yeah, I mean, I would expect, I'd be very surprised if Clemson isn't in contention to again be a regional host to make that step finally into the College World Series. Because yeah, I think there's a lot of momentum that Backage has. I think he's a likable guy. He's a good recruiter. He's relentless, and I would think that they continue to make strides. And if it doesn't happen this year in terms of the College World Series, I think the next year or two, they should absolutely have the talent to be able to make that kind of jump.
John Blau covers Clemson athletics for the Post and Courier. You can find him on X at John_Blau BLAU. Joins us every Monday at 8:40 to talk Clemson athletics. John, my man, appreciate you as always, big dog. Have a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you in a week.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Rob.
You got it. That is John Blau from the Post and Courier. Joins us every Monday at 8:40. Let's take a break. When we come back in the final hour of the show, we'll hear some audio from Tiger Woods. We'll dial in on tonight's NBA Game 5 taking place in Beantown, Massachusetts. We may get back into this Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark thing because you guys had some interest in carrying on that conversation about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Now, the Caitlin Clark of sports flashes. Lonzo.
No, I'm not that pale. The Atlanta Braves took 2 out of 3 against Tampa at home this weekend, dropping the finale 8-6 in a close contest. Ricky Hudson-Waldrop gave up 6 runs in 3.1 innings, but closer Raisel Iglesias was tagged with the loss after giving up 2 in the top of the 9th. Atlanta recorded 9 hits, including home runs from Travis Darno, Austin Riley, and Jared Kalenic. Ryan Blaney got his first NASCAR Cup win of the year late last night in the Iowa Corn 350. Blaney led 201 laps and beat second place William Byron by 716 hundredths of a second, earning him a guaranteed playoff spot. Hey, tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand spanking new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole, Bryson, and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, a whole lot of fun, and it's all Wire to Wire.
Elsewhere through the upstate, just a few minor stalls, but for the most part, traffic patterns are problem-free. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan Upstate.
Sorry, my dislike for country is not a work. It's an actual thing. Talking about country and western music, daggum.
I'm just a girl in the world.
Okay, no way you heard that in the restroom. That just popped into your head.
No, it was on my Alexa.
Okay.
We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at fixmyfoundation.com. Put water back in its place. People have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisine. They have the PFAs, where scratch-made dishes come from a 2,000-year-old tradition of not cooking. PFAs wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turn to AmericanMedia.com. AmericanMedia.com, the architect and PFA's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. So scratch-made Asian cuisine. Visit your local PFA.
Oh, man. If somebody was driving from Charlotte to Atlanta down 85, where would you tell them to stop for lunch?
Yeah, I'm not the guy.
All right, stream. I need y'all's help. Somebody's driving 85 south through the Ville. Where are they stopping from lunch?
So my cat just randomly ran through the house last night and jumped on my right calf and just it's like what? Right as I was getting ready to go to bed, like what is going on? As soon as I turned the light out, and then
Lonzo learning to be a cat guy is one of my favorite gimmicks going right now.
I don't know how. For however long it lasts.
And just like that, we have reached the final hour of today's version of the Rob Brown radio program right here on the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the Great Alonzo.
Burn it down!
On the ones and twos. No need. It's only Monday.
Just wanted you to have a fire hour. That's all.
Every hour's fire when you're with the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Hashtag name drop. So let's get to some stuff.
Can you name drop your own name? Can you do that?
I know Rob Brown.
I mean, is that a thing?
That guy's very handsome and good at the radioing, if I may say so myself. So let's get to some stuff. You all heard last week as I prepared for my voyage, our excursion over to the U.S. Open, Pinehurst. There is no need for that at all.
Well, that's what.
That one.
No.
Two.
No, I pushed the button.
Back-to-backer.
Okay, fine.
A deuce. Right out of the gate. That's what you get.
I swear I pushed. I bet that button's breaking.
That's sports karma.
I'm going to have to alert engineering.
Sports. Okay, Angel. It's everybody else's problem.
No. So they can fix it because it's obviously broken. I pushed the button. It didn't work.
That's what you get for bad-mouthing the GOAT right there.
I thought you were going to say that's what you get when you let your heart win. Whoa.
Deep cut.
Whoa.
Deep cut. Tiger Woods did not make the cut on Friday. Had a not great, had a real good start to Thursday, and then just collapsed down the stretch, unfortunately. So no Eldrick, no Phil for me either. Did not get a chance to go eyes on Phil Mickelson. You know what else happened? And we didn't even not realize that it happened. We walked right past Scotty Scheffler, did not see him. Right past Prison Scotty.
Well, he was having that kind of day.
Yeah, it was not good. Not a good day. He, I'll put it this way. The best golfer on planet Earth alive right now described his day Saturday as, and I quote, a mental torture chamber, end quote.
By the way, last night or Saturday night, Corey Graves asked if Scotty Scheffler has hung out with Dom yet.
It's a good line. Eldrick did not make the cut. Eldrick gave a shot at it on Friday or Thursday, had a real good start to the day. Friday went out, played another 18, and it did not go good at all. +7, I think he ended at.
It's game over.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way. You know who else kind of feels like it kind of feels that way?
It's probably the highest score I could have possibly shot today. I had a lot of good shots that just didn't quite go my way. It's one of those things where in order to win a golf tournament, you have to make the cut. I can't win the tournament from where I'm at. So it's certainly is frustrating. I thought I played well enough to be up there in contention. It just didn't work out.
Nope.
As far as my last Open Championship or U.S. Open Championship, I don't know what that is. It may or may not be.
All right, listen, I don't believe in karma is a real thing. I absolutely believe in sports karma. And I don't know what's coming for you, great one, but something's coming for you.
America.
The audacity that you are showing right now.
I disrespected an old guy. That's what you do all the time.
I do not disrespect old guys. Not at all. I would never. What I say is being old is not a cause for respect. Not dying is not a reason to respect you. I respect people who deserve respect.
Nope.
Tiger Woods deserves some damn respect on his name.
Nope.
After the career that guy's had. All right?
Burn it down! Burn it down!
Tiger Woods says this might have been it. He doesn't know. And the unfortunate part is, yeah, he does. Yeah, he does, and we all do.
When he says this might be it, does he mean period overall, or is he going to join the seniors tour when he's eligible?
I don't know. the senior tour has some flexibility when it comes to, God, I hate to use this, mobility assistance.
Yeah, well, I mean, he probably needs some.
You can use a cart on the senior tour.
There you go.
Because you're a senior.
How old do you have to be on the senior tour?
You're old enough.
Well, I know that. Hey, you're getting close yourself, maybe.
I would have been
Told you it was disrespectful to old people.
I would have been like the I don't know, probably 8th or 9th oldest guy on the tournament this weekend if I was playing. But I'm not a senior age guy yet, all right? Tiger's done. As much as I don't want him to be, I would love for him to find something, but between the off-the-court struggles and the fact that my man has got the Steve Austin bionic leg under him, he just can't.
I just looked it up. Wesley also threw it up on screen on the stream. By the way, the YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or X. 50 and older for the senior tour. How old is Tiger now? 44 or something like that.
Yeah, he's bumping up on it. He's bumping right up on it. Old enough. He's 48, 47, 48.
Wow. So he can just play a tournament here or there and then be ready to jump out on that tour.
Well, I mean, he's already playing a tournament here and there right now, right? Like the tournaments he has been playing that aren't majors are pretty much just tournaments to prepare himself for a major at this point, or tournaments that he himself is a part of, right? The Memorial, the Genesis, whatever. Those are tournaments he's either running or is a part of running them. I think my suggestion right now would be, as much as I would love one more crack at seeing Tiger on tour in the show, in the game, my thought at this point, I think, has got to be, we need Tiger as an ambassador. We need Tiger as a delegate. We need Tiger as a voice. I got very excited about the possibility of seeing Tiger. In fact, we were on the drive up there on Friday after work, and Joey B and I I just had the scoreboard open on the phone. I just had the leaderboard open on the phone, Tiger tracking the entire drive up. He was done at that point, but the course was playing tough, so it was like, maybe if you have a couple of meltdowns late, maybe he can sneak in there as like the last guy above the cut line. So, that's probably about time to call it. But you're at a point right now with everything that's going on with the LIV Tour. Now that, oh, by the way, the last major is owned by a LIV Tour guy in Bryson DeChambeau. By the way, not only is it owned by a LIV Tour guy, but the most popular golfer on the tour right now is a LIV Tour guy. At this point, I think we don't need golf Tiger anymore. I don't need Sunday Red Tiger anymore. Although we haven't seen Sunday Red in a very long time because we haven't seen Tiger on a Sunday in a very long time. I think it is in the best interest. And I'm not going to listen. If Tiger wants to keep playing, Tiger has every right to keep playing. As long as he keeps getting opportunities and exemption based on his history, tis what tis. But I really do think it would be nice for somebody to have a conversation with Eldrick and go, man, you're an absolute legend of the game. You are arguably the greatest to ever do it. To me, definitively the best to ever do it. Although I know there's a few Jack fans out there that are going to be ready to fire back at me. That's fine. Arguably the best to ever do it. You command, at least in the world of golf, you command the respect of every room that you walk into, no matter what tour is there competing. I think it's about time that Tiger puts on the suit and tie and takes off the polo shirts.
All right. As the second best to ever do it, he should take a couple years off and work with his son, get his son ready to play. And his son, I hear, is pretty good. And then jump on the senior tour and tear it up.
I don't know if he'd tear it up on the senior tour.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I mean, what are the score? What are the scores on the senior tour?
It is not so much about the score so much as it is just about his physical limitations of playing 4 rounds of golf, even if he gets to cart them and doesn't have to walk them. I just don't know that he's got that in him right now. I don't think he has the longevity to do it. It's as much as it gets clowned on, and it does, as much as it gets clowned on, it is a physically demanding sport, especially when you got to play 3 or 4 rounds in 3 or 4 days. The way that Tiger Woods has historically swung a golf club is very physical. It creates a lot of torque, and unfortunately for him, it creates that torque on the leg that he has had effectively rebuilt like a T1000. Like I just don't think he can do it. I don't think Tiger on the senior tour is the play. I think the play for Tiger at this point, and the way to not just cement his legacy, but I think the way that he could even enhance his legacy down the line is to become an elder statesman for golf. I think it's to become an elder statesman for golf. I think it's to become a guy who is not just but the voice on the tour. I think he's got an opportunity to be an ambassador between the LIV Tour and the PGA Tour, which right now, even I am starting to get to the point where, as much as I dislike the LIV Tour, and as much as I dislike where they're getting their money from, and as much as I dislike the fact that I am acknowledging that I'm falling right into their scheme, knowing exactly what the hell their scheme is, I am also to the point where we get tournaments like we got this past weekend at the U.S. Open. We get great tournaments like we got this weekend because everybody's there. Because it's not a watered down product. Because I don't have one tour that is putting its events on the CW, with all due respect to the CW.
Doesn't sound like respect.
I said all due respect to the CW.
Okay. So I didn't think about that. Due respect is your opinion of how much respect they're due.
That is why it is one of my favorite phrases, because everybody thinks it means the same as with the utmost respect, which it does not.
I know you said we're not getting into semantics today, but we just did. And I really, my 55 years of life, I never really thought about that until just now. And now I get it. You know, it took me a while, but I'm there.
I'm here to make your life better.
There's some other people. Yeah, you didn't help me with that. It just took me 55 years to get it.
You got it because I said it.
No.
You're welcome.
No, I realized your tone didn't go along with what I thought those words meant. And then I got it. So, okay. All right. In a roundabout way, it was not so much you as your tone. And I guess the tone came from you. So I guess that makes it you.
Anyway, now that I've helped make Lonzo's life better again, as I do most people.
Thank you for being open to teaching today, because your hat says open.
I'm a giver, man. I am a giver. I think this tournament.
Joe says you only play 3 rounds on the senior tour.
Yeah, well, that's why I said 3 or 4 rounds in 3 or 4 days. With all due respect, Joe.
3 or 4. I'm on your side, Joe.
Joe wasn't my guy.
I'm on your side, Joe. You're right.
Joe's my guy, and Joe knows my guy.
He's wrong.
Either way, the point here is the play for Eldrick here, if he wants to do the most good for golf, is go back to being that ambassador, go back to being that guy that is the olive branch holder between the LIV Tour and the PGA Tour, because a large part of the reason that this tournament was so good this weekend was because everybody was there. Everybody was pushing everybody. It was not a watered down field. It was not forced. It was just good golf that incorporated all of the best golfers on the face of the planet. Now, before we get up out of here for a segment, I want to address the criticism of Rory McIlroy. If you did not watch the conclusion to the Open yesterday, Rory McIlroy bogeyed 3 of the final 4 holes down the pipe. If he birdied or even parred one more of them, he could have likely forced a playoff, potentially outright defeated Bryson DeChambeau, and kept the U.S. Open tournament trophy in the bag for the PGA Tour. He did not do that. And he effectively fell apart is what he did. He just collapsed, which unfortunately, for the years of dominance that Rory McIlroy had on the tour, he is kind of wrapping around to becoming the Dallas Cowboys of golf at this point. Looks real good till it matters, and then he collapses, then he falls apart down the stretch. Rory McIlroy yesterday, after Bryson DeChambeau knocked down his putt that ultimately won him the U.S. Open, Rory couldn't get up off of the course fast enough. My man got himself into the courtesy vehicle and out of that. But there were guys coming up to him. Hey, Rory, do you have any comments? Would you like to talk? And a lot of folks were trying to ham it up to, Rory's just real mad that a live guy won. No, he's not. Have you ever gotten literally in this case, inches away from success and then failed? I will tell you, it is without a doubt one of the most painful things that can happen to you. It was, I have no doubt, exceptionally brutal. I'm sure it was the most painful golf memory that Rory McIlroy has ever dealt with. And then all anybody wants to talk to him about it, all anybody wants to talk about is Bryson DeChambeau.
It's especially harsh in a sport where it's an individual thing, so nobody else screwed up but you.
Yeah. Look, Rory bogeyed 3 of the final 4 holes. If he birdies any one of them, he wins. If he pars one more of them, he goes to a playoff. He missed multiple putts inside of 4 feet. He missed the first putt inside of 3 feet that he has missed this season. That is almost 400 putts. He missed one, and it cost him the trophy. So, with that being said, I find it very interesting that people are up on his grill. That being said, I said earlier in the show, hey, look, golf has got etiquette that other sports don't have. It has formalities. It has pageantry that other sports don't have. And a part of that pageantry is, I don't care if you won by 1 or lost by 90. On the 18th, you take your hat off and you shake the man's hand. Literally, me and my drunk butthole buddies do that when we finish 18 on a Saturday afternoon, right? You take your hat off and you shake the man's hand, and Roy just kind of left. I'm kind of halfway on this. On one hand, like, you did break the etiquette of golf. On the other hand, I have gotten that close and failed. And I know that sometimes it's best for me to not be around people because I'll say some dumb things. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
I sent you a video. Look at Kurt Warner's face. No, just look.
Oh, wait. There's a Kurt Warner video?
Yeah, I just sent it to you. Look at Kurt Warner's face. I'm not going to tell you what it's about. Just watch the look on his face.
You mean Kurt Warner, not Kurt Angle?
I said Kurt Warner.
You said Kurt Angle.
I did not. I said Kurt Warner.
You absolutely said Kurt Angle.
I said Kurt Warner. Everyone heard
Which
me
is
say
why
Kurt
I
Warner.
out loud said a Kurt Angle video?
I said Kurt Warner. I realized that my enunciation was not the
The
best.
first time you said Kurt Angle.
I said Kurt Warner. Whatever, dude. Watch the video.
I'm watching the video. He's you.
Look at his face.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
That's the first thing. It just popped up and I noticed his face. He's like, no. This is where it all ends, people. And I'm out here in front of a crowd, kind of a crowd, and having to deal with this.
Congrats to the Birmingham Stallions.
I'm sure you followed them closely the entire season.
I watched 0 games. I didn't even watch yesterday. I knew it was on yesterday. I didn't watch it.
You know what? If you were a sports guy. Well, James, I said Kurt Warner. And we can find out. I mean, we could go back on the stream and find out. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I couldn't remember Matthew's name yesterday. There's a good chance that you're saying
While you were on the air with him?
No.
Okay.
I was talking about the situation. There's a good chance you're like in the home stretch of seeing me because I'm forgetting names like crazy.
Home stretch.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the thing is, once I hit that, I'm probably not going to know. Once I reach that level, it's going to be
You're going to forget.
No, I'm going to be like, why am I home? Aren't I supposed to be where did I work? Oh yeah, I think no, that's not it.
I'm going to get a call one day. There's some old guy on the side of the road. He's just repeating the Rob Brown show over and over.
Oh,
you know anything about that?
That happens already. He's getting the whole guy. He's so stressed because of what you did to him. Ruined his whole day.
I bet I didn't.
And threw your nose up in the air and walked away.
You know how I know I didn't? Because that guy
told him.
Because that guy only cares about himself. You can't ruin the day of someone who only cares about themselves.
Well,
that's one of the most frustrating things.
So that makes me think that you also care about yourself. So that's two people who care about themselves.
I cared about all the people around me who were tired of hearing "Get the
Wow, you white knight, you come to the rescue of the masses.
I stand for those who can't stand for themselves.
I bet you got a Superman shirt on underneath that. No, you probably don't. It probably would shine through that periwinkle. The most non-manly color, periwinkle.
That's like a salmon, isn't it?
No.
Periwinkle's a flower, but what's the color? Oh, it's like a lightish, but it's like a light lavender. It is a pale purple blue shade of indigo.
Out of the names of colors, it's the most non-macho name, I think, periwinkle. There's no macho in the periwinkle. Puce is more macho.
Puce?
Yes. Which is another shade of pink. Chartreuse. French sounding, but not as unmanly as periwinkle. I'm guessing that's soccer, Keegan, because I don't know who that is. Boy, howdy.
It sucked. It was boring as hell.
Daggum Iowa corn.
Literally, the start-finish line was a big corn cob painted on the track.
Also, they didn't do it in a cornfield?
No.
Where are you going?
Just stand up and stretch my legs.
Okay, because you've got like 10 seconds.
Good morning. Good morning.
Unnecessary. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Spectacular to have you. I don't mean to alarm anyone, but at the end of this week, we will be 10 weeks away from college football. Just in case anybody happens to be tracking it.
That's like the opposite of an alarm. It's excitement.
Yeah, it was sarcasm.
Nuh-uh.
Mm-hmm.
Someone with an open hat cannot be sarcastic.
I am open to being sarcastic. For those of you that have not checked in on the stream yet at Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate, on YouTube by searching and subscribing to The Rob Brown Show or The Fan Upstate or The Rob Brown Show on Twitch. Daddy got some new gear while he was up there at Pinehurst #2 this weekend, including a brand new 124th U.S. Open hat, which is a dark blue with a Carolina blue open across. It just says open across the top because, it's the Open. And also because I love the insinuation that Lonzo has been taking advantage of all morning long. It's very good. It's very good. So, what do we get to? What do we talk about here? There's so much more that we can get to. We talked about Eldrick Tiger Woods. We talked about Angel Reese of the WNBA. Can I give you a real quick thought? There is nobody that is as, I don't know, defensive, salty. Frankly, I'm ready to get myself in trouble here. Obnoxious than members of the 1972 Miami Dolphins. Now, let me begin this by saying I love Larry Zonka.
When people wish you would die so they didn't have to hear it anymore, I think you've reached a level of being obnoxious.
You have risen to a transcendental level of obnoxious at that point. Listen. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you the sound first. Larry Zonka, some organization, I don't know who it is, but some organization went ahead and handed the Miami Dolphins the mantle of greatest football team of all time. And I would like to say, no, the hell they're not. Okay, were they good? Absolutely. Did they have some legendary players? Greasy, Zonka? Yes, absolutely. Did they do something that no one else has been able to replicate since? Yes, they did, but they also did it in 1972. Larry Zonka was at a event this weekend celebrating the 1972 Dolphins. And he was asked, hey, how do you feel about being handed the title of greatest football team ever? And Larry Zonka said,
We took the thing. That's what happened. I'm tired of people telling me how they named us. They named us. We took it. I don't have any emotional response.
Larry Zonka said they didn't hand us bleep, we took it. And then went on to say that he's tired of all the hating. He used some other choice words in the process. I do not care that Larry Zonka made me do extra editing work to go find and bleep his response. That's part of my job. However,
well done. Glad you're getting better at that.
I can go ahead and tell you even knowing that I quadruple checked it, my anxiety level was still about an 8.5 when I pushed play on that.
As soon as I heard the first beep, I started paying
for sure.
attention.
I am, as of now, officially exhausted with the 1972 Miami Dolphins. Like, I'm just tired.
You held out longer than most of us because that was, a long time ago.
I mean, listen, what they did is obviously impressive, but they won 14 games. There are teams now that you got to win 14 games to get into the playoffs. Well, they didn't lose, Rob. I agree. They also only played 14 games. It is important to recognize the context of sporting achievements and put them into the context of which they were created. This is why a couple of weeks ago, when MLB decided to include the records of the Negro Leagues in their official MLB rule books, this is why Cody Decker and I had that very interesting conversation, pointing out that, hey, the Negro Leagues had better teams than Major League Baseball did at the time. They were better athletes. You know how I know? Because once they lifted the ban and black players could come over and play in Major League Baseball, they were better as players. They just were, by and large. This is why there were a lot of folks that got real upset when folks' home run records and batting title records got knocked down a peg when the Negro League players came over, and guys like me went, I don't particularly care. It doesn't bother me in the least. I still know all those players. I was still brought up talking about those players. Now we just have another group of players to have a conversation about. It was important to get those Negro League records placed into the context of the day and to have those white players' records placed into the context of the day. That's what happened. And that's kind of where I am now with the 72 Dolphins. Now, I will give Larry Zonka credit. Larry Zonka went on to say,
obviously, you're aware there have been some rankings that did not have you number one. Were you at all surprised that you were number one this time?
No, I'm not surprised.
I'm sure you thought you deserved it.
Fellas, you're missing the whole point. It's a team sport. When you achieve perfection, there is no single entity that leads in that respect. You don't have the leading rusher. You might not have the leading wide receiver. You might not have the leading tackler in the game. The fact of the matter is that you concentrate more on winning than individual performance. So when you talk about great entities in the league, those are detrimental to the winning aspect because you become one-dimensional. So if you all work together and don't let your egos get in the way, which is easy when Shula has his foot up your butt, then and only then you may attain a perfect season.
Fine. I agree with that.
It appears to be a well-attended event.
It was, yeah, a lot of people. A lot of people hobnobbing and rubbing bows. The take there about being a great team, immense respect. Absolutely. Absolutely. I have done it for years. I encourage those of you that have the calling to coach Little League ball. I think sports would be better off if young athletes were taught that we have got to make sure that we are teaching the next generation, hey, these are team sports. These are sports that you win and only win if you handle your business as a team. If you go out and throw for 5,000 yards, but your team is 2-15 in the process, it does not matter. If you go out and have a 2,000-yard receiving series season, but your team is 2-17, it does not matter. If you go out and lead the league in tackles and sacks, but your team is 2-15, it does not matter. And I think there is a lot that needs to be put on display. There's a lot that needs to be put on display about teaching the next generation to dial in on the team aspect of sports. But I also know that this kind of flies in the face of a reality. And that reality is that once kids get out of Little League and they start making their way into positions where coaches can keep or lose their jobs based on performance, the best players play and the best players get special treatment. Everything Larry Zonka said about being a great team and making sure that you're putting the team first and this is how you do it, like, that's all great and accurate and true and very good. But man, the 1972 Dolphins are freaking exhausting, dude. Like, you did a thing in 1972. I would have been an elite athlete in 1972. Okay? It's
no,
what the Patriots did to get to a Super Bowl undefeated is dramatically more impressive than what the 1972 Miami Dolphins.
It's not, because they lost to the Giants and they almost lost in the regular season. Then they lost in the Super Bowl.
Did they lose in the regular season?
To the Giants. Almost. They did.
But did they?
So the Giants found out the formula. No one ever found out the formula for that Dolphins team. They're undefeated until someone else is.
If the Patriots played 14 games, they would have gone undefeated multiple times. If they played 14 games. 14 games including the Super Bowl, by the way.
You can speculate, but
that's not speculation.
There's no history to prove that because they lost.
The best tight end on the 72 Dolphins team was 6'3", 250 pounds. How do you think he'd fare today? Not great. They might hire him to stand in front of Bryce Young, though. Bang, short joke. You're welcome, Lonzo. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Wait, you said he was 6'3", 250?
Yeah.
That's probably
Doug Cruson.
Yeah. What's the average height of an NFL tight end right now?
I'll go offensive tackle because that's what he played.
You just said he was a tight end.
No, I did not.
You did.
And you also said that was Kurt Angle.
I did not.
The average offensive tackle today is 6'4", 300. The best tackle they had was 6'3", 240.
This is the 87 Bulls could be any place. That's what you're doing.
Does anybody want to stack the 2012 Patriots up with the 782 Dolphins and tell me who you think would win that game?
The amount of
Patriots by 1,000,000.
The amount of anger that you put towards your takes sometimes it's got to be exhausting.
It's not anger,
it's got to
it's passion.
be. Is it? Because I mean, that hate gonna burn you up inside.
It's not hate, it's passion.
Mm-hmm.
I burn with the passion.
If you're passionate, you don't side-eye Alonzo, which is what Rob just did.
I did not side-eye.
You saw it under your open hat.
I'm literally writing notes over here,
I saw it under your open hat.
You did not, because I didn't do it.
I did. I saw it. We all saw it, didn't we?
Go get Chris's tinfoil cap out of his office for you. Feel like you need it.
I don't need a tinfoil hat. I've already got one wrapped around my brain. Who, James? The Browns or the Patriots? Which team would win? Or something. Your argument is just as good as Rob's was.
Or something. No, it does not. It's actually part of the reason I liked it is it's a pretty low key. It does have the 124th logo on the side, which I liked.
Yeah, no one's going to see that part. All they're going to see is open and go open to what? And then Rob will just wink.
Anything you want. Let's get weird.
I don't know if I was said that, on where lots of people could see that. Because now someone can come up and do something to you and you already said, hey, I'm open to it. This is how non-fun Chris Evans is, because he won't go against Rob Brown. I know they're tight and everything. I try to get him to come in and yell, get in the hole, and he won't do it because I think it would hurt Rob's feelings. And it's precious, it's special, it's just cute.
What if he
it's just so cute,
like all the correct people think it's very dumb?
It's just cute. Whereas I'm sure if Rob asked Chris to come and do something that was towards me, he would do it. He was my friend first, but I get it, man. I wish you guys a good rest of your life.
And the Emmy for Outstanding Dramatic Performance on a Morning Radio Show goes to
Aching! No, I really am hurt because it would have been funny, and he just didn't do it.
It would not have been funny.
It would have been hilarious because on two fronts. For one, if he just opened the door and did it like I asked him to, it would scare Rob half to death, which is always funny. And secondly, yelling "get in the hole" would just be like, it would be that sweet, thick chocolate icing on an already chocolate cake that had like chocolate filling.
What you thinking about this morning, Lawson?
And sprinkles. M&M sprinkles. Like what you get in a McFlurry or a Blizzard.
Those aren't sprinkles. That's just M&Ms. M&M minis.
So how you know? You ain't worked at either place.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. Final segment underway. Be a part of it. 844-326-3676. 844-FANFONE is the number if you'd like to jump on board today.
Was that a hiccup or was that,
No, I had one earlier that I was
Yeah.
fighting through for a minute, like fighting for my life against it for a minute, but I think I've settled it down. I think we're good.
I don't know. Right, that's settled. I thought I heard it again.
It might try to sneak up on me for sure. All right, a couple more things to get to before we get up out of here for the day. Boston, Dallas, game number 5. This one back with the Celtics playing the role of the home team tonight. And I am going to go ahead and go moneyline winner Beantown Celtics tonight. They are ending this tonight. It is over. I have to play under the assumption that there's not any reason that Boston is going to let this series extend. Because if this goes to a game 6 back down in Dallas, I think it is going to a game 7 back in Boston. They got to end it tonight. But on top of them gotta ending it tonight, I think you also have to wonder, what did that game 4 performance Friday evening, what did that tank out of the tank for Dallas, right? I got a hard time.
Wait. What's your percentage of belief that it's over tonight?
85%.
Okay. All right. So you're talking about taking something out of a tank. Did it put the fear of whatever entity they worship into the Celtics players?
No.
Did they see, oh my gosh, this is what happens when the shots fall. If the shots fall come Monday, we might be in trouble again.
No, it doesn't. And I'll tell you why. It doesn't to me because I genuinely think, I said this is my theory. I floated back earlier in the show. And again, I acknowledge I could be wrong, but I'm like 85% I'm not. I think that around the 4 minutes played in the third period of game number 4, I think Boston waved the white flag. I think Boston was done at that point. I think they came to the conclusion that, fellas, tonight's not our night. They had, remember how back in game 2, we mentioned that the Celtics had their worst shooting night of the NBA playoffs at 38, 39%. I said it's the worst shooting night of their playoffs so far, and they still won by more than a half dozen. Then they had game number 4, where they shot 36.3% from the floor, 34% from deep. On the flip side, Dallas had their best shooting night of the series. They shot 50%, lifted up 91 efforts, including 37 three-point shots in that game. Boston did take 41 and knock down 14. So they actually outshot Dallas from the shot even with Dallas from the 3-point line. The difference was everything up close. And of course, we did not see Porzingis in this game. Porzingis, basically Joe Mazzulla said before the game that Porzingis was available in certain situations. Certain situations would have been, they got a chance to close that thing out late. And that was, to me, that was it. They obviously did not. They got outscored by 13 in the first quarter. They got outscored by 13 in the second quarter. They had a 26-point deficit at the half to overcome. I really think they got into the third quarter, and I think Dallas said, or Boston said, you know what we're going to do? Let's let them exhaust themselves.
They're going to quit. And so they quit.
I mean, sure. Or conceded the game because they realized we're better served to be more ready to go in game 5 than to try to dig out of a 30-point hole here.
I'm not a wordsmith such as you, but conceded and quitting the same thing.
Conceded the game, not the series. I mean, if you want to say they quit
we're talking about an individual game right now. No one said anything about the series. So they quit that game.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
They quit that game because they recognized being ready to go, or at least as close to 100% for Game 5 back home, was more important than trying to storm back down 26 in less than 2 full periods of basketball. However, why they leave their starters in, Rob? Because if they pull their starters, so does Dallas. And the best thing you have going for you right now, if you are Boston, is that Dallas was already banged up. Dallas was already nicked. And the fact that they were already nicked and you made their starters run 30, what? Luka played 33 minutes. Kyrie played 31. You made, if nobody else, their primary 2 guys, Kyrie and Luka, you made them both play well over 30 minutes of basketball and played them physically still.
Is there a chance that maybe you made them believe they could come back and win the whole thing? Maybe you gave them the confidence to do that. Maybe this could backfire.
I don't care if they have the confidence. Do they have the ability? I got all the confidence in the world. Doesn't mean I have the ability.
Yeah, you do. You've got a lot of confidence.
Yes. That is why I can walk down through somebody said, BS, you would not have been an elite NFL player. Obviously not, Texter. I was being a smartass. Obviously.
No.
Look at me.
No.
That level of confidence, as was just put on display right there, is the confidence that had me walking down the 18th fairway yesterday or Saturday at the U.S. Open, looking and going, yeah, I'd drive my shot right there. I'd hit my approach there. I'd chip into there on that spot on the green, put it back. That's my birdie. I played Golf Friday. I made 0 birdies on a local easy course, but the confidence said I could have stepped on to the tee at Pinehurst 2 and birdied out 18, a hole that was giving up no birdies all weekend.
By the way, you're right, Texter. There's no way Rob could have done that, but I could have.
Confidence. Unjustifiable, undeserved confidence. So that level of confidence don't mean a thing if you ain't got that swang. And by that, I mean, is Dallas good enough? Because for 3 games, it wasn't even close.
Was that like a 1934 reference for that song?
I'd say in that ballpark for sure. It's a great song too. Don't mean a thing if you ain't got that swing. Shabab, 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 wow.
Look at this. 1943.
All over it. Little World War II action. Like that. So Dallas went afterburner in this game. Dallas said, let's get after him. Let's not give them the cup on our floor. Let's make them beat us on theirs. I think Dallas laid everything they had into that game, and I don't think Boston did. I think Boston got to the point where they were looking at this game and going, all right, we got ourselves in a hole. We're shooting real bad. A lot of points to come back. Could we? Maybe. But there's no sense in burning ourselves out to fight back from 26 down with less than a full half to play, still potentially losing that game and being exhausted when we get back home. So let's lay up on this one. Let's keep the starters in there long enough that Luka and the gang have to keep playing, because again, we know that they are worn out. So let's make them go as deep into this game as we can make them go. Take it back to Boston. Let's take it back to Boston with an exhausted Mavericks team. I think that was the play. I think that was the strategy, and I think it plays out tonight. I think it will be a close basketball contest, but I think once we get into the 4th, I think you're going to see Boston just inch ahead, bucket by bucket, possession by possession. Boston's claiming this trophy tonight.
All right, here's what I believe. I believe that if Dallas plays the way they did Friday, the Celtics can't beat them.
Can't or
can't.
Won't?
Cannot beat them if they play that way. Will they? I don't know. We'll see. But if they play the way they did Friday, the Celtics cannot beat them.
The Celtics' best beats Dallas's best.
I don't think so.
It absolutely does. In my ever so humble yet frequently correct opinion, the Mavericks' best loses to the Boston Celtics' best every time. You got on Friday the absolute best the Mavs have looked, I would argue, in this entire postseason run. And you got the absolute worst the Celtics have looked maybe in the last 3 years. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. I don't know if Missoula popped off on a UFC fight on the bus and scared the boys. I don't know what happened. But I know if you get that again out of Dallas, but you get Boston's A game, Boston wins. Boston just needs to have an A game in 5, 6, or 7. They will. It happens tonight. Boston in 5.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
And for the record, I want Dallas in 7 because I'm poor.
Well, no, you need to give me that money because you're a non-believer. That means
No,
you don't get to keep that money. I know it was your money that you put down, but you forfeited that with your
I'm good.
with your unbelief.
I'll hang on to it.
The first thing that's Xing is Barry Manilow. And yeah, that rhymed because I'm good like that.
They make a beer down in Texas called Shinerbach that I'm a big fan of. If Dallas wins this thing in 7, Daddy makes some cash. I'm just gonna go buy a big old 18-pack of Shinerbach.
I don't know what that has to do with Barry Manilow, but you could okay.
Barry Manilow is trending because it is his 73rd birthday today.
Wow. No, it's his 81st.
Oh, damn, Barry. Okay.
Yeah. It's all that work he's had done. It makes him look younger.
I've told Lonzo before, I have the most, not the most, but I have a very eclectic musical background, right? I'll listen to Guar over here and then Creed over here and then Garth Brooks over there. And I want you to know that comes from the Madre. She's the same way. She listens to everything. And yes, indeed, she did teach me to appreciate the musical stylings of one Barry Manilow.
Love that Mandy singing to his dog. All right, the next thing that is Xing is, this is weird, Mrs. Roper.
Mrs. Roper is trending. I got nothing.
Okay, so back in the day, there was this show called Three's Company, and Mrs. Roper was on there. Apparently, there's a thing called the Mrs. Roper Romp, which happens worldwide on the 22nd every year.
I want to know what it is because I want to do it.
Are you going to dress up like Mrs. Roper?
We'll be waiting for you.
I mean, because a bunch of women dress up like Mrs. Roper and hit the bars, apparently.
I'm all in. Will I dress like Mrs. Roper? Absolutely, I would. I absolutely would.
All right. While you're looking it up and you get to see all those red wigs, which is a lot of fun. The next thing that's Xing is Better Off Dead.
Or the kisses are hers and his. Three's company too. Who sang that song?
The singer who sang it.
Nailed it. What's the next one?
Better Off Dead.
Better Off Dead. A show I have yet to watch.
It's a movie.
A movie?
Yes.
I do not think that I have watched.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Don't know why it's trending. Neither does anyone else, except for going, I don't know why it's trending, but I love this part of the show. And I will just say $2.
All right. So today
You should watch it.
I have. And one thing I cannot believe is not trending today is House of the Dragon or anything connected to it.
Yeah. Okay. Uncle Howdy is trending.
I saw that too. Monday Night Raw tonight. The countdown timer ends during the show. So we'll see if our patience shall be rewarded. Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, season 2, episode 1 aired last night. Got to watch that. Got to watch Raw. Got to watch the NBA Finals. Got the NHL Finals tomorrow. I just found a documentary on HBO called Ren Fair. Have you seen this?
I've heard of it.
I watched an episode last night. I'm all in. Cannot wait to finish that. We are busy this week, all right? It's a good thing that Lonzo and I both would have been elite NFL players in the 1970s.
Be in the Hall of Fame, dude.
Because it means that we've got the gas to kick ass this week, and we will. He's the great one. I'm Rob Brown. Have a lovely rest of your Monday. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face, and we will see you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate later. Yeah! I nailed that.
No, you're not talking to bed on the last one, dude.
But then you got clean Gunther.
Well, true.
All right. What do I have today? So, Jay Busby, I've had him on the show a bunch,
Mhm.
national writer for Yahoo.
Mhm.
I got to meet him this weekend for the first time in person in 17 years of having him on my radio show.
That's cool.
It was, and he was super kind. And he goes, "How come you don't have me on weekly?" And I was like, "I don't want to bother you that much." And he's like, "Dude, give me a date and a time. I'll come on weekly. We'll talk Braves, we'll talk NASCAR, we'll talk golf, whatever." So we're going to put him on the list because I love Jay. He's good people.
How did you meet up? You just happened to.
He's covering for Yahoo.
No, you just happened to see him in the crowd.
No, I texted him and asked if he was going to be covering it in person. He said, "Yeah." So I texted him. I said, "Well, we'll be there Saturday." And he said, "What time are you getting here?" I said, "Real early. I've never been, so I want to see every bit of the day." And he goes, "I get a little bit of a break between when the first guys fighting for their lives go out and then the leaders, because the leaders don't go off till like 1 p.m. He's like, "So I've got about an hour and a half if you want to catch up." And we did.
That's
super
cool.
cool. It was very cool. All right, guys, gals, amigos, amigas. Y'all are all spectacular people. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for continuing to put up with our, what was the word?
Reading's difficult.
No, I got to scroll up to find what Matt called us earlier. I forgot what he said. Oh, there it is. The great nonsense. Thanks for being here for the great nonsense.
A little nonsense now and then is finished by the wisest men.
Turn the hat around because now you are close. It doesn't say close.
Well, that would be cool.
Nonsense. All right, dudes and dudettes, you're amazing. Goodbye.